Joined by Maxgotthetracks. And due to some technical difficulties, we've been running a little bit behind schedule here, so we've just got the game right up for you guys. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you everybody for being here. You know, it's patch day, it's a happy day in the lore community. Excited to see some good gameplay tonight between some world-class players in this Masteringruneterra event, sponsored by
CommunityGaming.io. As
Yes.
you can see in the top right, perhaps I should move that though. It's not exactly particularly visible where it's at.
It's okay. They know we appreciate them. Shout out Community Gaming.
They've been such wonderful partners with Mastering Runeterra through the past tournament series and this one.
Yes. Here we've got a match between Rojio and Renrag. We just saw Rojio silence a Petricite Broadwing, which is quite nice. A spacey sketcher putting in work. Second, Zoe in the hand as well. Both these players, I believe, Rojio took game one, correct?
I think so. I think it ended up being a reverse of what we were looking at there, with Rojio closing out with 2 attacks.
So he should be up 1-0 in the set. Here we see a Cloud Drinker drop down, get a spell tutored out. Quite nice. The Lux is on board with the new changes. You know, Lux doesn't have to see the spell resolve anymore to get her beam, so she's quite stronger just with the little rule change that has occurred in the last 24 hours. Rojio's looking at some celestial potential, but not too much of a board developed yet. Definitely seems like he's on the back foot here. And he just decides to look for some more celestials. I believe that'll be a Crescent Strike. Yep. To stun some of what Renrag is trying to put together offensively. And he drops a Duskbringer, pardon me, as well. Monty, what do you think of this match?
I think this is a really interesting match. Obviously, it's not something either of these players have probably played before. I mean, perhaps Renrag having brought the Lux Galio deck tested into what a lot of people anticipated to be the best deck of this format in the Aphelios by Zoe that we see from the side of Rojio. So maybe he's got some experience here, but Rojio most likely has a little bit of comfort back up here, knowing his deck, having played it before. It is a deck that's been in and around the metagame for a while. So I would imagine that, given that, he's going to have a slight edge here. But then again, Renrag, having brought this deck, this new Lux Galio deck, which is very exciting to see. He's got some very interesting stuff in here. Might just have a little bit of surprise factor going in. As far as what's on the screen for us, does look like Rojio is in a pretty commanding position, but that could flip pretty easily as well. Aphelios, of course, being that valuable engine champion, continuously giving you free stuff.
So here we're just going to see an attack from Zoe. There's no sharp sight in hand, right? Yeah, so Zoe should get in. Get a super cool star chart, continue to farm the value, maybe threaten to level up a couple turns down the line. You know, Rojio does have quite a dynamic hand for sure. Lots and lots of options between the Falling Comet, the Aphelios, the stun. He's pretty much ready for anything, I would say. And we're just going to see him use one of those and do something like a burst pass, which actually ended the turn there. I wonder if that was intentional.
It's so impossible to say now, right, Max? Like, did they want it? Did they not? Did he forget? I've forgotten a couple times already. Have you been struck by the accidental burst pass?
Oh, I was playing all last night, trying to play my puff caps down and just accidentally ending my turn left and right. It was quite embarrassing, I can't lie, live on stream.
I mean, it's something that'll happen, right? It's
a learning
players
process.
just have to adjust, and you shouldn't beat yourself up too much about it while it's going on. Because in these early stages of the patch, it's going to happen a lot, and it's going to happen to more than just you.
That's true.
So here we're going to see some trades come out. Renrag is able to take the Zoe out. That's removing a good bit of board threat from Rojio, or rather a win condition threat.
Oh, the Vanguard got discarded, the Might of the Vanguard. So we're not going to see that new card get to be played. I am so surprised that Renrag decided to include that in their deck list. That is one of the cards that a lot of top players were honestly ragging on. They said this is too slow. There's already the Vanguard that buffs the whole board for 6 cost. It's kind of unnecessary. But Renrag decided to slot in a copy and just see how it played out, and that saved the Cloud Drinker from being discarded with that Aloof Traveler, and now he's going to target Lux and try to take care of her.
Yeah, this is smart heads-up play from Rojio. Doesn't want to allow the Lux to level up and get a laser. Of course, we do see that there is that Shield of Durand available for the side of Renrag, so he's going to get the laser regardless. But taking the Lux off the field is going to do a lot of good for Rojio's position here. Of course, that turn 10 is coming up, meaning these whales are about to get elusive and become threats of their own.
That's true, that's true. Not that Rojio doesn't have some elusive options to block with. We see the Submersible. But those are definitely some chunky boys that are going to require pretty substantial response from Rojio. So I can see why the Aloof came down, because they don't want to face anything stronger than that in the future. And Gravitums can also do a great job of stalling those out, stopping them for a turn and a half. So
Definitely. Playing this Aphelios now is going to give Rojio an option to cycle through multiple weapons. Of course, can't play the Calibrum this turn that he picked up, but can open the next turn with it, go into the Gravitum, just like you said, Max, stun out. Most likely the... It's actually really tough to say what you want to stun in this position, because you don't want to be taking that elusive damage, but also you need to be protecting your own Aphelios from the '07 Broadwing that's on the board.
that's true, we don't. One line I'd really like to see Rojio take is digging for the Hush with the Spacey Sketcher and the Equinox rather, with the Spacey Sketcher and the Star Chart. So that's gonna nullify the Petricite pretty hard if he chooses to use it there, or he could use it on the elusives and just take out one of those effectively from being a big threat. Yeah, 3 damage onto that one. Yeah,
Silence is definitely a fantastic pickup, right? This is almost certainly going on to that Broadwing. Going from an 07 formidable unit to an 03 unit that does nothing is what you want to see. Yeah, 03 do nothing is not a great card. The Gravitum does come out onto the Scatter Pod. It looks like Rojio is going to try and dig for another Aphelios maybe, or perhaps just another
double
stun.
Equinox. These hits were exactly what you want to see. Oh my goodness. If I was Renrag, I'd be perhaps a little salty as we see these played out in the next 2 actions, if I had to guess.
Yeah, and Renrag went from looking to be in a very good position to a very, very poor one. This first Equinox, of course, going to get notified. I think that's super heads up. That's great play from the side of Renrag. But like you said, Max, Rojio is a gamer tonight. He found exactly what he wanted to see and has the second one as backup.
He is gaming. Whoa. What is this? This little burst pass from Rojio, very cheeky, just giving himself a second more to think about what's happening.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I like
this,
it.
you got to look for these situations now that burst passing is no longer in the game, right? One of the big drawbacks of removing the burst pass is the fact that you can no longer extend your turn. I think that is one of the bigger factors that kind of has gone a little bit unstated. It's not the end of the world to not be able to extend your turn that way, but it is going to put the pressure on these players in spots where they would otherwise feel a lot more comfortable.
I really like Rojio getting aggressive there, saying, okay, I do need to figure out a way for this game to start ending sooner rather than later. Because, Renrag still is in it. He has those 2 big elusives on the board still. It's not totally under Rojio's control quite yet. So it's definitely starting to overplay some units. I don't hate that at all. Extend them out further.
I'm a big fan. I wouldn't be surprised to see this Station Archivist come out here, so that way Rojio can dig for another burn spell to clear off the 5/3, and then suddenly he's not feeling quite as threatened as he once was. This full attack also going to be a good option from his side here. We'll see what becomes of it. Has the Pale Cascades to back up the 5/5 Submersible, but of course we can see Renrag does have Twin Disciplines to counter those.
Right. So lots of blocks coming out here. Renrag recognizing, okay, this is starting to get into murky waters, as Rojio's hand never will deplenish, thanks to the lovely Targon card generation. So yeah, we see the Pale Cascade, like you said, Monty.
And actually, rather than going for the Twin Disciplines, Renrag has opted to use the Concerted Strikes to remove the Submersible instead. And I like this a lot. This is going to open up his own win condition of elusive damage through the Scattered Pods.
I think Renrag recognizes, if I don't win with these pods, I don't think I really have a chance for the rest of this game, which is a pretty accurate assessment, I would say. So
Yeah.
good of him recognizing where his win con is there. Unfortunately, I think Rojio has plenty of options to deal with these scattered pods to the point where that's not going to be a winning strategy still. But
I mean, keeping the double Twin Disciplines means that these burn spells are no longer actually going to be able to clear anything out. If Renrag just open attacks, he's almost there. Not quite, but almost.
yeah, you see a star shaping in Rojio's hands. There's a little more heal. Nexus might as well have 15. So the final card in Renrag's hand is the old Galio and then Midas of Vanguard. What good top deck. This actually is so game changing.
Galio very well.
Come out.
Yeah, the stun's going to be super punishing here to the development, but Galio himself might be a bit of a game breaker here, as you said, Max. The ability to rally, he is looking to level from this position, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 29 out of 25.
Okay, we've got Cosmic Inspiration, Supernova, and Destroyer on the star shaping here. I think it has to be the Supernova.
But
right?
you have no
You
second unit.
You don't have another
Yeah.
celestial, you can't activate it. Oh, and the Galio levels. Oh, what a change, what a shift. We didn't see the Midas Vanguard come down. Renrag deciding to slow roll it and get the maximum amount of value from it that you possibly can, which I appreciate a lot because as we know, Rojio's hand is still quite large and quite powerful.
Oh, this is not looking good for the side of Rojio now. From this position, Renrag seems to have locked the game up in my eyes. Top decking that barrier is exactly what he wants to see as well. If the attack does come through from the Destroyer, which it didn't, the barrier is just going to stop it entirely.
Still, we see another star shaping come down, so this is going to be a long, drawn-out game, I expect. If it doesn't end here with the with the elusive attacks. Oh my goodness. The interesting thing is Renrag wants their units to be damaged each turn, so he's throwing out the Petrified Broadwing saying, hey, please damage me. But I don't think Rojio is going to help him with that quest to get the rally effect with Galio.
I think you do have to attack with the Galio there just to try and force some blocks. Of course, you do have the barrier as backup, and none of these burn spells are going to be able to get through the Galio spell shield. So,
Rojio with a pass, I would have really preferred to have seen him use the Ballistic Boss spell, the Ignition. And then we see the Lux come down. Oh my god, what a crazy shift. Renrag with the patience. Just knowing, okay, if I just keep drawing, there's some chance I get my champions, we can get back into this game. And he's fully back in it. He's commanding.
Absolutely. And of course, the Galio effect on play is just so strong, and it's proving to be just how strong it is in this matchup as well. None of these units are killable from the side of Rojio. He's just going to continue getting slapped by these 5-6 and 5-9 pods turn after turn after turn. And he's going after it with the vibe, but it's just really not going to be enough in this position.
No, I don't think it is. Alright, let's see how this combat resolves before I say anything else. Yeah, the Petrified Broadwing here just to chunk some damage, because it's pretty useless otherwise.
And I think you have to... Oh, we're not going to... Okay.
Spirit's Refuge, okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's very clever to use it on something that's spell shielded, that way it can be popped mid-combat. And Rojio hovers the Mystic Shot, but realizes, hey, this actually isn't really going to do anything for me, so it returns swiftly back to his hand, accepting the combat results. And now Renrag gets another swing with the Scattered Pod and things.
But there's a hush. Max, there's a hush. Rojio has top decked the card he needs. Maybe he can actually hold on here. But Lux Laser are going to come out.
I don't know. This is so big.
This is really
the swing
tight.
For Renrag is so big. This game really is showcasing the importance of some of these changes here.
Yeah, it is.
Crazy. Oh my gosh. You would really think Targon would be the better late game deck, right? But Renrag just kept those elusive units healthy, and that was very, very rewarding for him. I expect no swing. Crazy. Oh,
The
oh,
swing,
it's right there.
swing
I'm
already
sorry, I'm
happened.
sorry.
It's a pass
This
back.
thing's
Yeah,
already
this is why we have the new UI
This is why
update.
we have the
Everybody's
sword.
complaining about it, but this is why the sword's here. This is why the sword exists. And we do see Renrag commit to that full swing. He is going to be okay trading off this 4/4 into the ballistic bot. And on the other hand, the Galio's still got that lifesteal, still going to heal him back up to full HP. This Mystic Shot's going to come out, but all it's doing is popping a spell shield. It does open up the way for a Hush on the next turn, but without any blockers, this open attack is going to put the series back into a 1-1 status.
This one's over, and the final game is going to be Rojio's Aphelios Vi Zoe against Renrag's. We're not sure what the ban was, but
Yeah, we didn't quite catch that, unfortunately,
let me pull
but
up his Montex.
we'll get to figure that out in just a second here, I'm sure.
What are we gonna see? It might be the Akshan Udyr, which would be super exciting. I would love to see that.
That would be really cool to see. That's definitely exciting. Have you gotten a chance to play with Udyr much yourself, Max?
I haven't touched the patch today. I'm so excited to cast this event because I have no idea what the ladder's looking like. I don't know how the new cards are shaping up. All I know is Ezreal's supposedly broken, but
I don't know about that one. I think people like to say Ezreal's broken, but I find that Ezreal is.
Udyr. Oh, this is so exciting. The Akshan Udyr. We're gonna see
boy,
Udyr's a playable card. Okay, mulligans are happening. What do you think you dig for if you're in Renrag's seat here? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. I guess the point of this deck is to build up huge Vicar and Bruiser or Udyr and just kind of swing your way to game, right?
I think so. It could also just be to play for silly Akshan stuff, right? Just get lots and lots of value. These two champions obviously are going to work quite well together, and with Shurima getting more strike spells in the form of Desert Duel and Grappling Hook, I can definitely see the synergies here. This looks like a very powerful mid-range deck that can just kind of dirtle and build a big unit.
And one funny thing about Renrag's hand is despite the current Hyara All-Seer glitch where the stand swap doesn't actually cost 0, there's still 2 copies in Renrag's deck list. So
yeah, I was actually just going to
chose to include that.
I was just going to point that out myself. It is a weird bug. It kind of turns your stance swaps into a thermal beam, actually. If you have 0 mana, you can still play it. It's so strange. It's such a strange bug. The dev team is aware of it. They are working on it, just like all the other bugs that have come up in this patch. There's an Ash bug. There's the Hyara All-Seer bug. There's a Fizz level 2 bug when you put a fast speed spell on the stack and open and attack with him. He doesn't get elusive from it.
There's Bandle City deciding to just like hide. Bandle City just got hidden by the Bandle City mayor. They just moved the whole city and avoided the Bandle Tree nerf.
Yeah, the mayor did some good work there, apparently.
Mayor's been working hard last night. He said, "You're not gonna nerf my Bandle Tree." But yeah. So you see the ignition come down, generate another Aphelios spell, quite nice. Very aggressive start from Renrag though. Already down to 13 for Rojio. You know, putting the pressure on, which I like to see a lot. And,
yeah, it is definitely a bit of an aggressive start here. We'll see if he can translate this early aggression into a win to be able to close out this series and start off the tournament with a 1-0 lead.
Yeah.
Calibrum comes down.
That first round in tournaments is always crucial. You want to start off on a good foot. So he talked
absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, did you win first round? No. It's like not gonna go well. We see the thermal beam target Udyr here. Don't believe it's gonna do 6 damage, right? So see.
We do have Troll Chant to protect him here. We'll see if Renrag does opt to use it. Instead, just lets it go.
It was a 6 damage thermo, no?
Oh, was it 6? Okay.
I believe it was 6, yeah. You're good.
I looked away for a second. Thank you for being an excellent co-caster. Being on top of things that I am not.
Doing my best. So here we see a Bruiser come down, and it's just like big units. It's big units on big units, which Targon sometimes struggles with. But when you have a good Aphelios just sitting there kind of farming value, it's not going to be super effective.
Well, the
Button
Aphelios can only do so much before he gets hit with this Desert Duel from the side of Renrag. Vicar and Bruiser might be stunned, but he can still attack. Apparently.
Still smack, yeah. But first we're gonna see a bear stance come down, level up that landmark a little more, act as a bit of a pass. That is one thing about the stance swaps. They do pass the turn, which is quite good now that there's no burst passing. You know?
Yeah, acting similarly to the ignition from the ballistic bots, or just a cheap one-cost unit. The stance swaps do definitely have a powerful effect there. I'm a little bit surprised to have seen the bear stance and not the boar stance. The regen makes a little bit more sense to me, just to ensure that this unit is always going to come back to full HP. I don't think the attack matters that much, considering that it's going to continue to generate lucky finds, and you do have another stance to be able to add on to it afterwards. But I would imagine that Renrag has put some time into this deck at this point if he decided to bring it tonight, so can't comment too heavily on that play. I think it's just fine nonetheless.
No, Monty, I disagree. I think Renrag is kind of flying blind here, and that's okay because it's the first day of patch. You know, you never know what people are gonna bring on the first day. It's always gonna be quite exciting, and some players thrive in that environment, like Renrag's doing here, and some players choose to default to their Zoe Aphelios Vi, and there's no problem either way. But I'm definitely happy to see how these matches are playing out regardless. We did see Rojio got the dog last turn just to dig for some more value. The crescendum comes down here. I'm not sure what you really want out of a crescendum at this point in the game. I'm surprised he doesn't go for something more effective with this man. I'm not sure what it would be, but that doesn't seem like getting another random 2-drop on the board. Didn't expect that to be the play.
I think his play is just to push some damage here, and maybe also wants to cycle towards...
Oh, you're right. It is aggressive. That's true.
Yeah,
I didn't think
it's very aggressive. It lets him get a nice full swing in here. With 2 landmarks and 1 stunned unit on the board, Renrag doesn't have a lot of options to actually counter this. Troll Chant could have come out, though, protect one of those units and pop the Akshan landmark. We'll see if he can pick up an Akshan to get a level 2 Warlord's Horde? Warlord's Palace? One of the two on the board.
Yeah. That's true. Sometimes when the landmarks are sitting there, it looks like it's a deceptively wide board, but Rojio, they're getting a good chunk of damage, reducing that Nexus down, which is, you know, at the end of the day, you don't win the game unless you make the Nexus go to 0. So that was an issue for Rojio last game. So I'm glad to see he's taking a bit more initiative here. And the top deck of Aphelios is really solid. I'm not sure what's in Renrag's hand. Let me alt-tab and check that out.
Renrag's got quite a few options, but looks like he did pick up the second quicksand off of that predict, and I'm a little bit surprised to see that when we were presented with the other options of Three Sisters and the Rockhopper. Obviously, I don't think you're taking the Rockhopper there, but Three Sisters as a one-of in the deck might be something you want to see in this matchup. Entomb, pretty good sometimes. Flash Freeze, pretty good sometimes, especially against these larger Celestial units that can be really problematic for a lot of decks to take out.
So the Bruiser is getting its value in. With the Challenger, it's quite nice. We see the Aphelios drop down. Maybe try to answer that. There is no combat trick to kill Aphelios, which is good for Rojio. Hopefully gonna get some value on the level 2. What do you think Renrag needs to effectively close out this game, Monty?
That
That's what
Udyr.
I'm wondering about right now. An Udyr, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Udyr that he just picked up is going to be quite helpful to him. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but I think what he really, really needs to find here, what he really wants to be finding, is that Akshan. So that way, Akshan can put down that palace like we talked about, and then he can start ticking that down and be able to give all his champions spell shield and whatever else they require in this position.
See the defensive kindly Tavern Keeper going on to Vicar and Bruiser, recognizing this Bruiser is kind of all I've got right now, and I really need to protect it. My Nexus health is important, but if I don't protect this Bruiser, it's not going to look too good. And that same kind of philosophy worked out really well for Renrag with the Scattered Pod last game, so hopefully it pays off for him again here. We see the Troll Chant protecting the 2/4. Now there's been 2 Troll Chants invested to protect that card, which is quite interesting. You know, recognizing you really need a lot of chump blockers against this wide board. I'm quite impressed with Renrag's play so far.
I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see something like a ram stance attempted there. It would threaten to take out the bot and threaten to take out the 2-1. Of course, we can see that Rojio has lots of answers for that in the double guiding touch and the pale cascade as well. So maybe just really heads up from Renrag identifying that there are a lot of punishes there. Or maybe a bit of an oversight. Of course, not too many. While the stances have been good, not a lot of people have been experimenting with them too much because Udyr himself has not been that good.
Very true. Yesterday when I learned that Udyr was getting a buff, I was a bit embarrassed. I had to look up what the level 2 Udyr actually did because I had no idea. I'd never seen that card level up. I was like, what does this thing even do? Now that it's actually realistic.
I was playing some Udyr LeBlanc today, and I got a level 2 Udyr on the board, and then afterwards, I played a stance and I saw him grow, and I was like, wait, Udyr grows when you play stances? I had no idea, no clue.
Yeah,
it's amazing what patches can do.
It's a very rewarding level 2 actually. It's quite a good finisher. You just make a huge body. It's like this is very fun. I don't know what Udyr did in League, but I imagine he just gets big and strong like in lore.
In League beforehand, he had a stun on his bear stance. He had a Phoenix stance where he would do AoE damage. He had a turtle stance that gave him healing, and he had Tiger stance, which gave him attack speed and damage over time. He's been reworked since. I have played some League. I've been playing some League. I played League for a very long time, from season 1 basically until recent times. I still dabble here and there. And the comment's going to come down, but we did see Renrag pick up the Rite of Negation just in time to stop this. Big plays.
What a punish to that. Protecting the Udyr at all costs. You need him to win the game.
But he's still going to go down.
Going down. Yeah, if you want to survive, it's going to die to the bot, huh? It's unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate. No quicksand because there's no mana for it. Wait, did the the crescendo into the challenger unit actually win Rojio the game there? That's crazy.
It might have.
It very well might have. Oh,
there doesn't appear to be any major healing outside of that tavern, outside of 2 tavern keepers, and we've already seen one. So Rojio only needs to find 1 point of burn basically, which there is plenty in his deck. We've seen Mystic Shots, we've seen an Aftershock. Lots of options for him here.
He's got double guiding touch and a ballistic bot in hand and a pale cascade in hand, so there's gonna be plenty of time to find those points of burn. So if I had to guess who's gonna win this one, what I'd be saying, but we do see the stun go on to the bruiser here. Don't want to say this is a foregone conclusion, but it's looking really good for Rojio at the moment.
Yes, it certainly is. And this has been, I'm really glad we got into this matchup because it has been it's showcased some new decks for us. And it's been just a really great way to start off today's stream, despite the fact that we did have some technical difficulties and took a little while to get into it.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Just a few. It only took me, a good hour of us being in a call to actually get this set up. I was struggling today.
Just in time to see the conclusion of this game. See the Pale Cascade come down and trade with the Allseer, get a Lunari Duskbringer in hand. Not going to help much. And the Aphelios goes down. It's cool. We did have to lose your Allseer to do it, unfortunately. And the Ballistic Ball is going to be the 2-turn win con. And the Duskbringer is going to come down as well. Actually, I guess I did fill out the curve. It's pretty good.
Yeah, you know what? Used all the mana effectively on that turn. Ballistic Bot going to generate that ignition. This open attack, of course, is also going to be enough. There is, even with the double quicksand, I don't think there's anything Rojio or anything Renrag can do to stop this lethal.
No, I don't believe so. Could have even seen Rojio swing with the Ballistic Bot, and it could have been buffed with the Moonlight. What's the Duskbringer spell called? Do you know?
Dusk Petal Dust.
Dusk Petal Dust, yeah, that thing. Could have seen that. Monty, I should have warned you when you asked me to be a caster with you that I have no idea about card names. I'm so bad about remembering those. I'm sorry.
That's alright, Max.
I'm just gonna...
We're gonna do our best, that's all.
We're gonna do our best, that's all you can do.
Renrag could have actually bought himself one more turn. Could have used the second quicksand for -2 as well, and then not taken the 1 damage, but maybe just forgot the ignition was there. Ends up taking the 1 damage that he could have avoided, and Rojio takes this first set of tonight with a 2-1 lead.
Awesome. That was a good start to a tournament. We got to see an Akshan deck and a Galio Lux deck. Like, come on. I mean, a Udyr deck and a Galio Lux deck. Like,
yeah,
that was satisfying, really, if nothing else. You know, I know Renrag wasn't able to close out the set, but we do appreciate him regardless for trying some new cards. You know, very exciting.
And it looks like that was the last set in the round for this Mastering Runeterra Road to Seasonals tournament series that has been brought to you guys in part by Community Gaming IO, which I should maybe fix our desk so that way it's up there. Our sponsors are nice and visible for us. And all our lovely viewers.
We're not sponsored by Game of Thrones. We wish we were, but it's just in Monty's background. It's a community game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll run through real quick some of the players we have in this event. We've got Alexander Bambooper, Cameron Hanzo, why is my mind blanking right now? What is Cameron Hanzo known for?
Thralls, bro.
The Thralls, thank you. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot that. The Frozen Thrall God, falling to Void. Void, one of the best Latin America players. We've got Ferretto, friend of Zoe, Grandpa Roji. I know Grandpa Roji's probably bringing Malphite. Quite excited to see the rock solid changes that Malphite got with the added stun. Infinity Patrons, Henneke, Grave Trail. Pretty stacked bracket. So we've got some good matches coming up for y'all in the next round. So make sure you stick around to watch those. And we appreciate everybody hanging out. Monty got the community gaming logo there. How you feeling?
Yes,
man?
Sir. Thank you for covering me while I took care of that, Max. You have been truly crushing it tonight, my friend. I don't think I would be able to be doing all the production and keeping my head on my shoulders and keeping it together without you and your support here. So as I said, we are just waiting for that next round. Have you had a chance to look at some of these other deck lists, Max? I'm wondering if there's some more exciting stuff. I'm curious to see what else.
I'm going to pull up Roji's list and the first deck I clicked on when I opened Grandpa Roji's was Malphite Talia. 3 copies of Malphite, beautiful. 2 copies of Celestial Wonder, the 5-drop stun 2 card, which is quite exciting.
That's interesting. I guess he feels that it's a little bit better than the Malphite spell, just because it for that 1 extra mana gets the extra stun. Should help out the aggro matchup a little bit. The list, of course, has updated to now include Hourglasses and Red of the Arcanes. People kind of identified how powerful Hourglass can be with Talia, and just as a protection spell. Only 1 Absolver and only 1 Herald of the Magus, so maybe looking to push more damage through the board. I guess Overwhelm's not quite as necessary with the new Malphite stun on play, and just with the Malphite board lock ability.
Very true.
It looks like his other 2 decks
to bring Zerath Zillion, which is one of my favorite decks historically ever since Gouda Daddy showed me his version of it, and got a copy of a Minimorph, some Hexplosive Minefields, so we're hopefully going to see if we ever get Roji playing some huge arsenals, which are always quite exciting from the spectator standpoint. Maybe not for the opponent, but
I'm a big fan of that card myself. I think it is quite strong. And it looks like we do have our next round pairings. So, Roji is up against Henneke. Would you happen to have either one of those players?
I do have Grandpa Roji. If you have Henneke, you can get into
I do have Henneke, so we can get that matchup on screen. This is going to be an excellent match to continue our tournament with. These 2 players, of course, both very well known in the scene, both very, very strong players. And Henneke known to also bring some spice here and there, having notably created Henneke Nightfall back in the day, which is just a bit of a slower version of Nightfall, using Aphelios and Temple. Of course, both those, while Aphelios has been reverted, Temple has not. So
Monty,
we'll see if he's maybe got something else up his sleeve.
You want to talk about spice? Let me tell you what Henneke's bringing tonight. He's got LeBlanc Ash, he's got Thresh Nasus, and he's got Draven Scion. Every deck Henneke chose to bring tonight was buffed in the last patch.
Yes, it was. And I'm going to get this deck list up on screen while we wait for these players to actually start their match, just so we can walk our lovely chatters through it. This
Mm-hmm.
LeBlanc Ash list that we can take a look at here. 3 Omen Hawks, 3 Glory Seekers, 3 Icevale Archers, 3 Trifarian Assessors, 2 Incisive Tacticians. That card got so much more powerful with the LeBlanc level up. The
So
LeBlanc
much more
buffs
powerful.
is crazy. Yeah, so much more powerful.
So
I'm
crazy.
so much stuff I can't even articulate properly.
Bro, 2 copies of 4 Glory. The new
Yeah.
card. This
Wait.
is
Ooh, that's a little bit
insane.
sussy to me.
A little bit.
That's a little bit sussy to
But
me. But Henneke experimenting with some stuff. The rest of this looks really strong. I guess if you are going to activate Reputation pretty consistently in this deck, right? So if you play this for 3 and then you drop a Trifarian Assessor, that sounds pretty good to me, actually.
sounds good to me. I mean, two Trifarian Glory Seekers generated. It's just a bunch of Glory Seekers is what we expect to see this set if Roji doesn't choose to ban this list. Triple
which he
Culling
might.
Strike. Triple Culling Strike, I think, is very clever from Henneke's side because it answers those Ezreals so easily, along with Aphelios on a good day. What else does Culling Strike target?
In this deck, it targets pretty much anything, right? Because you do have the Frostbites readily available. Notably, there is no Flash Freeze, and there is no Brittle Steel, and there's only 1 copy of Harsh Winds. Does have that copy of Reckoning as well to help with those aggro matchups. That card is super critical. 4 Glory should also help out there too. Actually, thinking about it, that should help hedge your aggro matchups a little bit. Ash LeBlanc typically not the strongest deck into aggro, but we'll see. We'll see how Henneke can pilot it. Thresh Gnosis, this is another very standard list. Harkens back to the olden days of my glory days, I would say. Desert Duel having been added, Quicksand having been added. I am bothered by the fact that there is only 1 copy of the Wings and the Waves in this list and only 2 Backai Reapers, but I can't say it's wrong. Lots of people played this deck a lot slower than I did, and it makes sense. Outside of that, there's nothing too special here either. Anything to add on this one?
The inclusion of Desert Duel, the inclusion of Quicksand, just some new Shurima tools, giving this deck a little bit some fresh tricks, you know. Dog new tricks, as they say. Pretty cute. I'm very much in your camp. I don't understand why there's only 2 Butcher and 1 Wings and Wave, but hella Treasure Seekers. So it's a little questionable from my opinion. But I like Henneke. He's a really strong player, and I'm sure he's ready to deal with whatever he's expecting to see in the meta. So I trust that these decisions are based in his ban strategy. And moving on to the final deck.
This is a pretty standard list at the end of the day. The Wings and the Wave was something that people, like I myself, and I know Cephalopod and myself were really big on it, but most people were only on that 1 copy. But yeah, onto that last list. It is Draven Scion. Scion's back, apparently. Henneke says so. Anyways, with 2 Pharons, that's a little bit of a new addition. Only 1 survival skills, and the Aloofs have made a reappearance in this list. I'm a big fan. Those Aloofs are going to help your control matchups a little bit. They're going to be really strong in this mid-range metagame that a lot of people are expecting, especially if people are testing these new cards like the 4 Glory and like the Demacian one that we saw in Renrag's list earlier in the day.
And if Roji ever faces Talia Malphite against this Scion deck, he's going to not want to keep Malphite in his hand because those Aloofs are going to just destroy it. So it's a very interesting tech card. It could definitely see some crazy utility leading into this match here. I'm excited to get this underway. Moving on to Roji's lineup, unless you want to say anything else about this.
No, I've said my piece.
It's so standard. It's like, other than the Aloofs, it's pretty just
the Pharons are a little out there too, but Roji's lineup, we got the Xerath Zillion here. This is a deck that I'm also quite fond of, having written a guide for Mastering Runeterra. Maybe it's time to go back and update that one, but Roji did help me out when I was writing that. We consulted about the matchups. We talked about the deck, the build, all that stuff. The list hasn't changed too much. It has gotten some new tools. I'm pretty sure the last time we took a look at this deck, Rite of the Arcane wasn't in the metagame yet. Minimorph, of course, has been taken down a little bit. I might be wrong about the Rite of the Arcane thing. I can't honestly remember to be completely upfront with you guys. Quicksand, of course, having been buffed, is now a much more powerful combat trick. Makes a lot of sense in a deck that wants to look to stall out and just play for these big end game arsenal turns. So I'm a big fan of this list. It's kind of the more control version of Ziggs Talia, which we saw quite frequently in the last metagame.
Yeah, those Zillion is super underrated against aggro, in my opinion. Like it really is just one of those cards where you drop it down and you're just kind of like, I can kick my feet up on the table. I know aggro's at least gonna have to send 1 or 2. It chump blocks at least 1 or 2 units for a turn,
Yep.
and then it provides you with the time bomb. So I love the inclusion of that, because one strategy players commonly use when a new format comes out is like, oh, I'll just spam aggro and I'll dumpster everybody trying new strategies, and it's like, no, this isn't gonna work with the Xerath Zillion. And then again, I think the last time you wrote that article, I'll guess y'all only had 1 or 2 Ancient Hourglass, but now we see a full 3 copies, recognizing how crazy that card is. Correct me if I'm wrong, Monty.
I think you're right. I believe you're right. It has been a while since this deck appeared in the metagame for the first time. It was kind of just at the start of the Bandle expansion, if I remember correctly.
Bandle City Invasion.
Yeah, right at the start of the invasion. Yeah, it was in the metagame because I distinctly remember testing that matchup for the deck guide. And you really, as you identified, Max, you really have to play through Zillion. Having the ability to chump block multiple units as well as generating those time bombs, super, super powerful. The one thing to note here, only 2 inventive chemists. That's not unusual, and also no ancient preparations. That is maybe a little bit more unusual. This deck list has always been one that was a little bit tighter, and I can definitely see why Rojio's taken the changes that he has. 2 explosive minefields with only 2 Rite of the Arcanes is maybe a little suspect to me. I feel like with only 4 ways to pop the landmarks, you might struggle a little bit, and you might find that those are locking up your board space. We'll see if that makes it through and if Rojio proves me differently. And just to briefly take a look at the other 2 decks, because these players have gotten into game. We do see Kindred Viego. This is a pretty standard list. I don't see anything too out of the ordinary. 2 Cincos have become very common. And no Nopifies is worth noting. And of course, Rojio's special signature deck that we have here is Talia Malphite. Back on the Stonebreakers, giving you a little bit of burn, 2 denies, and the 2 Celestial Wonders that you pointed out. And we have a Shurima matchup here. It is that Xerath Zillion deck up against my favorite, Thresh and Asas.
Okay.
How do you think this one's going to play out, Max?
This is hard to say because there's only 1 Minimorph. There's only 2 stuns in the Xerath Zillion list. So if there's a big Nasus coming in, there's not going to be too many answers. I'm very excited to see if they can if Henneke can effectively get those slaves in and start to deal with the board. The time bomb comes for Rojio, which is really nice against those treasure seekers, curse keeper, fading icons. Helps a lot to deal with those. We do see a couple fearsome units, which is something landmark decks have traditionally struggled with, especially when you don't see your endless devouts. So
Yes.
should be a lot of early game aggression for Henneke, which is exciting. The Xerath comes down.
Yeah, let me just go ahead and update our our matchups and our scores and stuff here, because I am slacking apparently. So yeah, like you said, Max, not a whole lot of fearsome blockers. This desert duel though gonna allow Henneke to take out the Xerath, and maybe not something that
so fast. The quicksand is gonna come through to save Xerath here.
Oh,
actually,
it should. He might be considering. And yeah, it is.
Pops on that. Yeah, you need that Xerath on your board if you want to stabilize against this aggression. So I like that a lot from Rojio, heads up play. And kind of nullifying Henneke's turn, aggressive-wise. So kind of had the dual effects, yeah. Might have been a bit of a reach for Henneke to try to target the Xerath there, considering it wasn't likely going to block anyways. But the time
I think you have to try.
You have to. You probably have to try.
That Thresh did just come up off the top, though, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah,
and
so
I see some units die, which is wonderful.
I was gonna say maybe it was just a really heads-up play from the side of Henneke, where he knew that if it went wrong, he was gonna have the Threshes back up and be able to do that, but just got lucky. That's okay. That's the mark of a good player. And now is gonna be able to continuously progress this level up condition for the Thresh, making him a major threat himself.
The Xerath does level, as we saw. I don't know if Henneke was aware, but the Curse Keeper did proc both of those landmarks, which is funny. That Thresh is 2 away from leveling, right?
I will check that.
It's such a threat, but it is at 4 health, so Grandpa Rojio's Rite of the Arcane that is in hand should be able to deal with that. if it doesn't level here too quickly.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good for the side of Roji here. That letting the Xerath level up might have been a bit of a misplay from Henneke's side, and it might prove fatal. If he'd just taken it out prior to the level up, the only answer was the Hourglass, which we do see in hand. So it was never going through so long as Roji held up the mana, but maybe he just had to make that attempt.
See the Vile Feast on Henneke's side to clear up that 2-1, get another proc on Thresh, and additionally it makes it so that Thresh is no longer the weakest unit on the board. So Xerath is not targeting it, which is really nice with the landmark popping.
Yes, it is.
Situation, yeah.
And if it goes through and the Rite of the Arcane does come down to threaten the Thresh, we can get the level up with the Glimpse Beyond we see in hand.
Oh, so true. Oh my gosh.
It looks like that's how this is going to play out. This is
Glimpse.
even better. He's tapped below the Hourglass. Henneke, you can go for Henneke, go for the Black Spear, bro. Oh my god.
It keeps it alive.
He sees it. He sees it. No, he's changing his mind.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wait, the Black Spear doesn't kill. I'm trolling.
You can kill your
Black Spear does 4.
Yeah. You glimpse regardless,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Glimpse is good. Glimpse
Glimpse Glimpse gets you an assist this turn, which is crazy.
Crazy.
It should be
Henneke
like at least
finds
5
the
or 6
line.
attacks, dude. Oh
It
my
is.
gosh,
We do have one in hand.
Roji.
It's only a 4/4, maybe a 5/5 after this goes through. No, it's still 4/4.
So I guess we just see the Thresh attack the Xerath. Okay,
Nah,
it
you pull
kills
the
kills
Zillion.
Yeah,
That way
it's
you're
another. Yeah, it's another slay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're threatening the Xerath with this. Of course, the Zillion's gonna die, so the Slay comes through. The Xerath can't block, or it too will die.
What a turn of events! That was a jam-packed turn, honestly. That determined how this game is gonna go. We see the Preservarium come down. Roji's trying to find some answers because his current hand doesn't have a lot of mid-game. We're just gonna see him try to curve out into that arsenal before the Thresh takes him out. See the 3-1 drop down, create a threat, a little board trap for Roji, make it difficult for Henneke to develop anything else.
Couple prey played out from the side of Henneke, gonna give him some targets to slay here. And if Roji does dip below that Hourglass mana, he can once again attempt to threaten the Xerath with the second Gnosis that he has in hand.
It wasn't the second Nasus, which I think Roji's fortunate it was. It would have been another Thresh, and another Thresh could have dragged that Nasus out, which would have been, frankly,
he did find another Thresh off the... He had a second Gnosis in hand. Yeah.
Pardon me. Oh,
That's
my
okay.
goodness.
Yeah, has both champions available to him now, and we'll see what happens here. Roji's suddenly looking to be in not the best position.
No.
Henneke did a great job of flipping this.
I think we are seeing Black Spear be a bit of a questionable inclusion in this deck as it hasn't gotten played yet. How do you feel about the Black Spear being in this list?
I always like the Black Spear in this deck. I was playing 2. I was playing 2 when most people were on 1. But again, my lists are always weird, Max. I had no deny for the longest time. I was like very adamant that you don't need deny on ladder. And Henneke gonna get punished by the Hourglass here. Maybe a little bit hasty. Should have probably just looked to play out his Thresh. Getting 2 Gnosis on the board sounds pretty good.
Yeah, seeing a Nasus fizzle is not what you want to see here. And this turn, if Roji wants, he can develop an arsenal. He can develop a big unit to contest. He could play out his landmark situation by creating a 5/4.
A lot of options.
Pretty up in the air here still, despite Henneke pretty decisively winning his last attack turn. This is still very much anybody's game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Roji does opt to remove the Thresh. That means that there's not going to be a second Gnosis coming through here. Of course, Henneke can threaten and kill. Oh, actually says, no, I need to push some damage. If I go after your Xerath, I'm never winning this.
Oh my god, another Rite of the Arcane was drawn. That's so
Wow.
important.
You just said this was still up in the air, but I think that's going to seal the deal.
It looks over. Yeah, that Nasus spell reaching just a little too far. Got punished heavy by the triple ancient Hourglass, and all we see is a 9/2 Nasus that's about to get destroyed, and we see the quick concede come out from Henneke, and Grandpa Roji's up a game. Very
Henneke
good
knows.
play from both sides, but just a bit better edging it out for Roji, you know.
Yeah, that's a
One
matchup
thing,
that I expected to be somewhat even, kind of draw dependent. Obviously, there's a lot of skill expression in that matchup, especially based on what we just saw. Henneke, of course, making a slight misstep, going in a little bit too aggressively with that Gnosis and getting punished for it, ended up being his downfall. Not having a backup play after that turn. Could have navigated it a little bit differently, maybe put down the Thresh, threatened to open attack with the double Gnosis. I think that puts you in a much better spot. What do you think his ban was, though? Did he respect... Rochi's kind of known for all three of these decks at this point. He's been a big Kindred Viego fan since that deck kind of cropped up as well. But do you think he respects the Talia Malphite enough? And do you think he respects Roji enough to just say, nah, you don't get to play your actual signature?
I think Henneke's a fun sucker and ban Malphite. I'll say that.
All right, I think that's a fair assessment.
Yep.
We'll see if you're
Yep,
right,
yep.
and it looks like you are.
We're not going to get to see Roji on Malphite, unfortunately, on this stream. But we do get to see some Kindred Viego play. Nothing, I think literally nothing has changed with this deck from patch to patch. Other than maybe some niche play interactions I'm not thinking of.
I think it's just tech changes. Like, people have put the syncopations in and out. I've seen some people running missed calls, others haven't. Twin Disciplines, of course, having been nerfed, is still a staple 3 of, but Nopify is notably missing. Just not the best meta inclusion at the moment, I guess.
Yeah, there's not really much you want to Nopify that can actually impact Kindred Viego's strategy. Like, anything that kills Kindred past, like, Twin Disciplines and Synco is not going to be Nopifiable regardless, so it's like, why bother?
Yeah, absolutely.
So here we see the Vile Feast come down from Roji. Just take care of that 2-1. Nice. Get a blocker. Chump blocker. And pretty good. Just bit, I wouldn't say slow starts from Henneke, but not like, you know, sometimes I'm nostalgic of those turns where you'd get like 2 or 3 attack units on like turn 3 or turn 2 using Thresh Nasus, and we're not seeing that come from Henneke with this list.
Yeah, Henneke does not have the triple Bakai Reaper in this list, doesn't have the triple Butcher in this list, so that opening threat power is not quite available as you identified, Max. We'll see what he does decide to do with the rest of his mana. I'm guessing he's going to develop the 2-drop, but maybe just wants to bank to have that quicksand available.
Yeah, I think one thing, Henneke's list is like kind of awkward in terms of like, it doesn't have a ton of late game, but it does air towards the late game. So if you don't play that middle like almost perfectly, you're not gonna have a good time. Like, you need the Thresh and the Nasus to be present, or you're not gonna have a good time. Which is why we see double Rite of the Calling and Thresh to drag out the Nasuses, but it makes for a very tense situation in that middle game, which is we saw didn't fall in his favor. Interesting, we just saw a Sand Soldier get obliterated there because Henneke didn't want to give any stat reductions to Grandpa Roji's big units that Roji does not have. And Roji cleverly doesn't play the fading icon that got reduced because he doesn't want to reveal to Henneke that he doesn't actually have any large units in his hand, which I think is quite clever from Roji's end.
Yeah, I think it's very, very heads up from Roji. One of the biggest threats is that this Green Glade Lookout can reduce stuff like the...
Oh.
This is going to be a punish.
See a Twin Discipline get there. That Vile Feast is not going to work for Henneke, but one interesting inclusion is that Henneke does have a Butcher. That is a fearsome blocker. Roji, sorry. Yeah, Roji has the Butcher in his list. Yes, thank you. My apologies.
No worries. Does have this second Twin Disciplines as well to block the Bakai Reaper if he chooses. Not a bad option, but you don't really want to be going in with that Green Glade Lookout here. No, it's because there's nothing to discount. So just going to take the chump block onto the 1/1 Spider and let the rest of his units go through and connect with the Nexus. This is looking a little bit better for Henneke. Does have that Atro in hand this time. Does have a Spirit Leech to start refilling here. And of course, Gnosis is available.
Roji's hand is a little awkward with these double Spirit's Refuge is not really providing much value, so we're seeing him do some premature Glimpse Beyonds to try to dig into anything that can help him get a board going here. A Spirit Leech from Henneke is going to really put him in a dominant position. How far is that Thresh from leveling? It's at 5 out of 6, so pretty...
Yes, it is.
Pretty threatening here. You don't want to let anything else die, and that's not going to be easy task with Henneke's hand. Kindred
Now,
comes down.
super heads up from Rojio. Reveals the 0 mana fading icon so that way he can maybe bait Henneke into committing under the Black Spear before dropping this Kindred. Says, look, I have no more units. I've just discounted this one twice. I got nothing. You can develop. You can keep playing into this. And of course, Henneke, being the good player that he was, didn't fall for it, and immediately goes for the Black Spear, which does get punished by the second Twin Disciplines from the hand of Rojio.
Interesting. So we saw Rojio attack, which would have leveled the Thresh if Henneke wanted to block with anything. But instead, Henneke just opted to allow that to go through, not let Kindred get the value there.
I like that from Henneke. He can just play it safe here, wait till his turn rolls over, open up with the slow speed, but also fast, with the unit speed, Wings in the Wave here, and play the wave and be able to actually, or the wings, I guess, actually, and be able to level that Thresh directly.
One thing to note about Rojio's list is there's only 2 Vengeance, so if the Thresh gets Vengeance, it's not the end of the world. We do see another Nasus in Henneke's hand. We see Glimpse for refill, so it would not have been the end of the world if the Thresh would have gotten destroyed there. I mean, if the Thresh does get Vengeance here on the open, on the Wings and Wave, rather.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure levels.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you there, Max. Henneke going after the Kindred here, just wants to knock her down. Does have this Quicksand as backup if there's any shenanigans here. This full swing means that the missed call from the side of Rojio is going to be completely invalidated as well. And the fact that he did commit to the Spirit's Refuge means that he can't play the second Kindred to protect the threat, to protect the first one. Not that you would, because that'll reset the Thresh and allow him to pull another Nasus on the next turn.
Very true, very true. You could have Spirit's Refuge to your own. I mean, what is that called? The 5-drop spell?
It is called...
Oh, it's a Kindred Spirit Journey. Yeah, you could Spirit Journey your own Kindred, but that's not super effective either. We see the Glimpse come down.
Yeah.
And okay, the Invasive Hydrovine is going to give Rojio something to do next turn, which is good.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Actually denies one slave from the side of Henneke, meaning that this Nasus is going to take just a little bit longer to level up. And Henneke super heads up, plays out 2 Prey here. Just wants to protect himself from a second Kindred. If any shenanigans come down, he can stop them.
Yeah. These first waves, the Prey is pretty much invalidating Kindred's champion ability. And here we're going to see Nasus continue to get leveled. Another valuable champion goes to the hands, and a Siphoning Strike. Let's see I think Rojio has to syncopate here to keep this Invasive Hydrovine alive, but it's not going to stop these champions from getting huge. It's really not. It's quite scary. Yeah. Alternatively, he miscalls, which wouldn't be terrible either.
Could also just barrier again as well, but that is vulnerable to a number of things at this point. Black Spear online, second Vile Feast. I just noticed Henneke's only playing 2 Vile Feasts in this list. That's something I kind of overlooked at first. That's something that we did see here and there, but Henneke also has the second Nasus, which means that this is looking done for him now. This is going to be a win for Henneke.
We're going to a game 3. We're going to a game 3. Very good. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good, homie. I love to see it, right?
It's been so long since I've seen Nasus level. It's been so long. And I have to say it was beautiful. Oh, man, I miss seeing that. I can't lie, Monty.
I gotta agree with you, my friend. It is definitely a beautiful level up animation, and it feels so good to then, he does the thing where he spins his staff, he slams it, he opens up the Spirit Fire, and then, damn, all the units are now one attack lower. Nothing can block this fearsome bad boy. Susie's coming for you. She's coming after the Nexus, and we get to see the Ash LeBlanc from the side of Henneke.
Yo, Monty, what year is it? I remember playing like it must have been the third or fourth seasonal, and this was a matchup I played a lot. This is crazy. LeBlanc, Ashe, and Viego.
This is
Spicy,
a
just spicy. I'm
decent
just
opening
satisfied
hand.
to see. I'm just
Both
happy
players.
He's back these old decks.
Sorry, Hope, I keep cutting you off.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
We'll get into a groove. We'll get into a groove soon enough. This is our first time casting together. It takes a minute. Takes a bit. Henneke opening double Omen Hawk. This is gamer hours, I guess, because you never want to see these cards past your opening hand. But in your opening hand, they are so strong. Hits the LeBlanc as well. Hits the Trapper here. These are good hits for the Omen Hawk buffs. That Trapper's a 5/5 itself now. It's been hit by 2. So it's doing everything this deck wants it to.
Meanwhile, Rojio's sitting with some Green Glade Lookouts that don't have an actual unit to level, unfortunately. And we see the LeBlanc come down. That could get stunned by the Concussive Palm. That could get potentially Vengeance here. We're just going to have to wait and see. But it looks like Henneke is going to get that reputation really quickly with the current board. Like,
has the rally mana as well. Incisive Tactician available means that this could be a very volatile game for Henneke, or for Rojio, I guess, for both players. Whoever manages to get out even a little bit of a lead here will come out ahead. Henneke debating on taking that pass. Says, well, if you're giving it to me, maybe I want it. Maybe I'm okay burning your mana, but decides that he needs to push some damage anyways.
You know Henneke's looking at the hand to see what got reduced, and he's going to see, wait, there is nothing that got reduced. Again, Rojio bricking with the double Spirit's Refuge.
But finds the Kindred.
That's really good. One thing to be scared of, though, is if Henneke ever draws that Reckoning, it's going to clear up that board really easily. That one of Reckoning is so spicy. I just had to say it.
I love it. I love the Reckoning. I think it's such a fantastic card for like both the aggro matchups, like we said earlier, and the mid-range matchups. Henneke, interestingly, opts not to go for the draw here, but instead just to build the widest board he can. And it's just going to completely swing out.
Reputation is online.
Yep, it is.
Reputation is online. This is so exciting. LeBlanc's going to get the mirror image. We're seeing the direct results of what happens when Riot takes these risks and buffs cards willy-nilly. And I'm very much here for it. Let's see if Rojio wants to stun with the Palm or if he's going to save that for later. Maybe on a rally turn, we could see one of these lifesteal spells pop off here. Couple different options.
And just opts to do nothing. How do you feel about this, Max? This is odd to me.
Sometimes to do nothing is your best bet. I could see next turn Rojio Vile Feast the other bird, makes the LeBlanc killed by Kindred. That could be really good. But I mean, the rally's coming.
The rally's here.
Winter's here. The rally's coming. Winter's coming.
It's not just one rally. It's 2, bro. He gets to play the mirror image. This LeBlanc buff is crazy. He gets 2 rallies here.
Wow, this start was absolutely amazing for Henneke. There's a Viego in Rojio's hand, but I don't even think he can play it. It looks like just...
No, he has to keep mana.
He's going to have to use his 8 mana for a Palm and for the lifesteal, right? That's like almost inevitably what it's going to be. And I think Henneke just wins. I think it's pretty much over. The Tactician's going to rally
I think he can flip back here, right? Because if the Palm comes out, it completely nullifies the LeBlanc attack. You take a block with the... And then you take 2 blocks. You block with the Spirit's Refuge onto the 6/4. This might end up being okay for the side of Rojio at the end. Henneke, Henneke, what are you doing there, my friend?
Considering the early mirror's image, just to go a bit wider, but I think he realized, no, I'm just going to use it on the Tactician, which makes a lot more sense.
So the logic there is that he has 4 mana always, right? And because he has 4 mana always, if this attack goes through as is, he's going to generate another mirror image, and then he's going to have it available for the Tactician at the end, right?
Oh, I see.
But there's a lot of punishes to that, and he recognized that. And he very, very wisely recognized that. Yeah. So we'll see how this does end up playing out. Going down to 8 HP despite the healing off the Spirit's Refuge.
Mirror image on the Tactician. This is actually so insane. We do see the Palm come down there. Awkward Palm timing, but I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, and the palm thumbing makes a lot of sense because it's gonna make the next
Oh,
one
it
stunned
comes
as well, right?
stunned.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
so
copies
clever for
exact.
Roji.
So
So clever.
can take the one
Yeah.
block here and just go down to 2 HP if he wants. LeBlanc gonna die.
And the Kindred survives. That's not bad. Facing
Kindred
a
gonna heal
6-3,
up as well.
the Kindred could heal. No.
Yeah, still has his own attack token, so he can go in here. I
Oh,
don't think you can really afford to play around the Troll Chant at this. Wait, that's a third rally. That's a third rally.
Oh my god. Oh my god, LeBlanc is OP.
LeBlanc is crazy.
LeBlanc
Henneke hits him with the
crazy.
Shen.
Henneke with the Shen emote says it's over. You tried, Roji. You tried to stop my incisive tacticians, but they're just gonna keep coming. No matter what you do. I don't care if your Kindred hurt my LeBlanc. It doesn't matter. This game is
This is
over.
nuts.
It's actually insane how many these tacticians have got. Even when they're stunned, they're just free rallies for 1 or 2 mana. It's like,
Now this was a high roll, right? I think we could both agree the double
Right.
Omen Hawk into the Trapper, into the top deck Yeti. This is
It's
double
an attack.
LeBlanc. Like, a lot of things went right for Henneke this game. I don't think this is how you can expect every single one of your games to play out. But clearly Ash LeBlanc has some legs once again. Clearly,
LeBlanc-
it's crazy. That was
it
nutty.
back? Is it back? That was so commanding. It was like, I mean, even without, okay, let's say the Omen Hawks, like maybe there's one Omen Hawk into the Trapper. It would have been a lot slower, but I feel like he could have curved out in a similar fashion and still dominated that game. Granted, Roji's hand was quite poor in my opinion. He did get a bit of the short end of the stick with the Viego and Kindred. Just like slow overall hands. The double lookout into nothing didn't really help that whole situation, but I don't know. It was quite convincing. I'm impressed if nothing else.
Yeah, I was maybe looking a little bit down on Ash LeBlanc. I've been a bit of a naysayer. And after seeing that, well, maybe it's time to give it another go here. We do appear to have a couple games ongoing in this round. If you want to try and hop into one of them, I'm more than happy to take a look. You may have gotten some ads at this point. We did broadcast your name. I have Friend of Zoe. They're playing up against Dr. Evander. I actually have both players, so if you have either one, we can hop into their game. Otherwise, it looks like Sonic Holic and just some bad juju are the only ones left.
I think I have Sonic. If he's still going.
I think I have Juju. Let me see if I can find them.
How about you just spectate one? Yeah, I don't have either of those players, and they haven't
That's
added
right.
me either, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Spectate disallowed, but Dr. Evander has spectate allowed, so we can jump into that.
Get
I
into
will
it.
just shoot Greg a quick PM about that.
Sure. You got my code right. Okay, cool. So we see another Viego player enjoying a big Viego, something Rojio did not get to do. Facing a huge Celestial, which is pretty pog. 12-8 elusive with a 5-7 subpercible and some little poros to boot. Whoa. Was the atrocity about to get crashed into that? A palm into it. Oh, very smart. Found a way to actually stun it using the atrocity on the spider, and that's not gonna have an answer from Zoe's side of the board.
This is funny.
Something.
It's unfortunately the only play available to Dr. Evander here.
Yeah. All right. Oh, thank you for fixing that, because I don't have Friend of Zoe added. Okay, cool. A lot of elusive damage goes in there. We still see Vander with the deny, so the burn shouldn't beat him next turn. And what does he have? That I think the Viego levels, right?
It
The
should
Viego
be
levels
very
is
close.
lifesteal. Oh, it's
19
so
out of
close.
20.
19 out of 20, just one away. Perhaps we should have seen something bigger get atrocity, maybe? So that way
It
the
could have been an
Viego-
option for sure, but I think you do need to be able to threaten to push lethal damage with this swing here. So that way some blocks are forced to come out, right?
Right. Very clever. I expect we'll see the lifesteal drop onto that Viego to protect it.
Yeah,
Or I
think
guess the second Viego could just get played because that Despair is a Viego, I believe, right?
Yes, I think
So
it
it's
is.
not bad either. Yeah.
Double check that, but it is indeed a Viego's Despair. So both options are pretty decent here.
If you want to hold up that lifesteal, I definitely wouldn't put it past you. Yeah, good swing. Not much
I
else
think
to
you
say.
need the lifesteal on this attack, right?
Yeah.
Just
that
because if
makes
you
sense.
don't, there's 2 ignitions in this, or I think those are 2 ignitions, right? Yeah,
It looks
2
like, yeah.
ignitions from the side of Friend of Zoe. So going to 1 is maybe a little bit suspect here. And yeah, there's a get excited directly. We'll see the deny come out.
Yep. Get excited will not work.
And a second
Another
one.
one. Oh my gosh. Honestly, kind of glad we didn't get to see Friend of Zoe's hand because that was quite exciting.
That was exciting, right?
I'm excited about that. I don't know. I always love to see some monkeys go and just clap the Nexus to 0. But,
Yeah, there's something to be said about not having access to both hands as casters and as viewers, right? It while we can give better analysis and make more accurate commentary when we do have both hands, only seeing the one definitely has its own special flavor of spice, and I personally enjoy it from time to time.
lets you get into the player's shoes more, which is definitely quite exciting. Sometimes we see casters say, "Oh, that was a misplay, that was a misplay, that was a misplay," but it's like you have full knowledge. You know, you're not considering what the question marks that are on the board. So it definitely is a different experience. So
Yeah, that's something I myself have been guilty of here and there. And it looks like I'm getting some friend ads here, or maybe some messages. Yeah, some friend ads. We'll hopefully have a little bit more access to some games in the future. Looks like this is still ongoing, but my thing dropped. So we'll try and get back into the last match of that round.
Yep, got some more players added just there. Okay, I have Friend of Zoe now. Nice. Just a dash too late, unfortunately, but that's okay.
Well, game 3 does appear to be underway.
We have standings? Oh, game 3 of what?
Of the Friend of Zoe Dr. Evander set, or maybe game 2.
Oh.
We don't actually know what game we
keep
jumped into,
casting that.
but
Sure.
it's ongoing if you want to jump into the Friend of Zoe side now.
I lied. They didn't add me. I'm sorry. Or they didn't add me, rather.
That's okay.
Okay, but we do have Sentinels, so we'll just enjoy it from Vander's perspective. See the 3-1 drop there. Pretty solid start, right?
Yeah, I think this is looking a lot better than Rojio's hands did. That's for sure.
That's for sure. Sorry, Roji.
Having the Chemoborn Soldier and the Hydra Vine in your opener is definitely a plus. Dr. Evander keeps mana up for the Concussive Palm here. It's going to prevent the Kindred from getting in on this attack if he wants to. Can also do some funky stuff like try and barrier or just Vile Feast or glimpse your own unit out from underneath the Kindred. Instead, Friend of Zoe just going to let the attack roll through to the next round.
I've never played Sentinels versus Kindred Viego. Neither of those decks are really my cup of tea, but if I had to imagine, I think
that's going to
Dr.
be a bit of a game changer, right? The Aloof?
That was a perfectly timed aloof. Taking out the Hydra Vine is so impactful in terms of not letting the Viego get too huge. So
unfortunately, did draw him into the Kindred, which Dr. Evander has the mana to play this turn, so we're going to see that developed and swing in for 4. And now we're in a bit of a Kindred standoff. This isn't something you see every day. It's become a little bit more common in recent times, but Max, this is a weird one, right?
Oh yeah.
I haven't played this game for what, a year now, a year plus. Like this is not your everyday matchup, and it's a go hard list.
Oh,
that's exciting.
We got Ezreal in the list from Friend of Zoe. That explains a lot. Okay, that's why this is not just any Sentinels like I thought it was.
I think this might be the 4LW list that was posted on Twitter a couple days ago. I don't know if you pulled that one up. I should probably check deck lists before like making these claims, but you know it's exciting to put some spice in.
I'll pull up Friend of Zoe's lists here. Got you.
I'm gonna
do
the same thing.
Felios Victor. Dashe Soul. Oh, Dashe Soul. And this. At least
it's a single Ezreal.
Kindred. It's a single Ezreal. Okay, I lied. It's not an Ezreal deck. But it does have triple Gohard, triple Aloof, and a Ladros. So one thing I was going to mention is that I expected Vander to have the upper hand because of late game tools like deny, because of late game like board presence that I think should just be stronger naturally by being a bit of a more traditional control deck. But I'm not sure that's the case anymore, especially after that aloof drops down. Like the Elise Ezreal Kindred doesn't even play things like Atrocity, Ladros. Like it's more of an aggressive deck, and it does focus on those go hards to clear the board. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. The deny does get picked up there by Vander. Yeah. Sorry, I go off on tangents because
No, you're good. I have other stuff to do in the background, and I'm like watching like 6 different things, so it's really actually quite beneficial to me that you're taking such a commanding lead. I wonder if we're gonna see the deny come out here, or if instead we'll just see the barrier. Both options are pretty good. Could even just go for the twin disciplines because that still gives 3 HP, and this only does 5 damage.
Barrier seemed the riskiest. Oh wait, there was no mana left. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, health isn't really pressing right now, so Deny and Twin are going to be much more valuable combat tricks heading into the later turns of this game. We'll see if Friend of Zoe can convince Vander that he needs something to get killed and proc that Kindred level condition, which I would like
Kindred
to,
can just take a block onto the 1/2 now, right? And then you're taking 4 damage here instead of 8. That's probably okay.
Kindred blocking the Sentinel here is like perfect. That makes Friend of Zoe's attack pretty much irrelevant, right?
Yeah, you take 4 damage instead of 8, and then it looks like both blocks are going to come through. Dr. Vander doesn't appear to mind giving up this this prey, and I think this is fine.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Your Kindreds are trading pretty evenly. We're healing right back up all the damage that was done. Should be a-okay. Your open attack, of course, is going to be protected by the deny. You do have your vengeance available. Lots of things on the table for Dr. Evander here.
Big Viego there. That's a really good top deck for Vander. It's going to give him his endgame strategy that he so desperately needed after that aloof. So yeah, we just see a pretty passive open attack here, which I like. Not too much of a reason to commit too aggressively when you have, in my opinion, the better late game strategy.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that Viego playing that Prism style gameplay, that prison style gameplay plan is definitely a little bit stronger than the go hard one, especially when your opponent wants to play through their champions and only has limited units like this deck does from the side of Friend of Zoe.
Yep. Once you run him out of the Buru Sentinels, the Burgeoning Sentinels, the Commander Ladros, kind of not doing anything. I mean, that's why you do play Ladros, because it's like an infinite unit effectively, but even that is pretty finessable if you get
right. If Ladros is the biggest unit on the board, it's then going down, so it's gonna get stolen, and then your opponent has access to it. It's kind of a sus card to play in this matchup, I think. We'll see if it actually ends up mattering here, but Dr. Evander has the tools to protect his Kindred here. And that means that Friend of Zoe might be under threat.
That was a second go hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes,
second
it was.
go hard. Yeah, okay, thank you.
We'll see if a Pack Your Bags is going to be threatened here.
Yeah.
Definitely possible. Station Archivist number 2.
The timing on the Viego drop is going to determine a lot in this matchup, I expect. Because you want to play it where it's safe, and it's fully safe, but you don't want to play it too late to where it doesn't get to level before Friend of Zoe develops a board that can take out your Nexus. So that's going to be probably the main thing we watch out for in the next couple turns. When does that Viego want to come down? When is the most optimal time for Vander to release it? And thankfully, I mean, Viego comes with the Risen Miss, right? So it's not particularly difficult to drop because you have that extra blocker. But okay, so oh no, it doesn't.
So according to chat now, Go Hard now shuffles the moment it hits the stack. So the moment you press OK, Go Hard is shuffling into your deck, meaning that you can no longer deny the Go Hard stacks from shuffling. And actually, we did see the animation there go off there, so looks like we might get that that pressure point that we were talking about of the Pack Your Bags here. Let's see if this was in fact created by the Station Archivist, and yes, it was. There's a good chance that there is an option. Oh, this is new. As a spectator, I can manipulate this.
Oh, really?
And there, yeah.
Wait, the twin?
While it's on the stack, I can twirl it around. I've never seen that before.
Be careful with that, Monty. We don't want any weird glitches occurring.
Yeah, let me just click somewhere and see if it goes, eh? And let's
please be careful. I don't wanna cause these players any more undue stress than they're already going through in this heated match here. So yeah, what Monty said with the station archivist is essentially that there's a go hard, there's a pack your bags coming in the next 3 turns, right?
Yeah, up to 5 turns it could be. I wasn't paying enough attention to see how many we had there, and this has to be denied now. You can't let this Viego go down here, and that's going to open up the way for the pack your bags, meaning your Kindred's going to go down instead.
Yeah, but it does level Viego, so I guess that's a plus.
Yeah,
if it does get a play.
Oh, and the Spirit's Refuge was picked up just in time here.
Pretty clutch. It is a bit unfortunate we can't see what's in front of Zoe's hand in terms of like if you do Spirit's Refuge, is it procced by a Mystic Shot, a Vile Feast, or even if there's a Vengeance that can just straight up take out the Viego. All those things are pretty important here as this late game is coming quickly. We see the open Vengeance on their Viego. That's interesting. Quite aggressive, I suppose. On the Kindred, rather. Sorry. Time Trick pops off here. I wonder if they're going for the pack your bags at this moment. I think that would make a lot of sense. I mean, it would just leave Viego on the board, which is not super threatening. Yep, there's the pack.
Yep. Good call, Max.
Goodbye, Viego. I mean, goodbye, Kindred. Goodbye, Cameroon. However you pronounce that card, soldier.
No, you did it right. You said it right. Camoboran soldier. Yeah, that's how I say it anyways. The Mist is going to protect this Viego from a Vile Feast, but not from a Mystic Shot. This could be very bad for Dr. Evander in this spot.
But if you're a friend of Zoe, do you even bother with the Mystic Shot at this point? Because it's like, I mean, I guess you do. I mean,
I think you have to, right? If you don't, like, how are you ever dealing with this? I would imagine we see the attack come out with the Mist here.
Yeah, I'd like to see friend of Zoe block with the Financier. No? Okay, that's fair. That's fair as well. And the round will end. So both players did a lot that turn. With Vander killed the Kindred and friend of Zoe packed the bags, which is pretty impactful. I mean,
yeah,
definitely cleared up a lot of Vander's board, leaving it with just the Viego. It's like a pretty clear strategy what Zoe wants to do to end this game is just remove that off the board and keep swinging. So we'll see if that is achievable. Friend of Zoe just taking their time to decide how they want to open up their turn 10 attack here. If they'd rather try to clear Viego first or develop perhaps an aloof or something that could take out some of these cards, but nope, just deciding to go for the open attack, realizing, you know what, this Viego doesn't really want to block anyways, unless there's a second lifesteal, the second Spirit's Refuge, which I'm sure Zoe did not expect, considering there's only 2 copies in Vander's list.
Yeah, you don't really need to play around the second there, but second time trick means that friend of Zoe is going to have the ability to search for a way to pop this now, and once again threaten the Viego.
Those time tricks, I mean, Runeterra doesn't have a lot of cards that can just tutor out exactly what you want, so it makes sense why it costs 2, and is so powerful. Included 3 copies here for friend of Zoe, especially when you play like one-ofs, like Ezreal. You play a one-of Aftershock, those time tricks really get a lot of utility. And
yeah, you do.
See the stun from Vander realizing, please don't kill. I mean, not realize, is recognizing, hey, if I lose this Viego, I lose. So please don't kill it, please.
Yeah, but with the Viego staying on the board and with friend of Zoe having to dig for that Mystic Shot, there's a chance that this is just a good way for them to stabilize now. And Aloof comes down. What's it gonna burn? Okay, that's a good sign.
Draws Vander into a glimpse, which could actually be super clutch here. One thing to note is, minus the Vile Feast, we're pretty close to a pack your bags lethal. pretty close to lethal on Zoe's next swing, considering the lifesteal's out of the question at this point.
Pack your bags would have
Vander's
to be built up again, right, Max? We
yeah,
did just see a
that's true.
cast,
That's true. But
so it's got to go
I mean,
back.
the
Vander
deck is
is.
full of go hards.
It is. It is.
But
The odds are
yeah,
pretty good that they're going to draw into it at this point. Each one of those casts shuffled 2 more back into the deck. That's 6 extra in the list, on top of the 3 that were originally there. Well, I guess those cycle out. So we'll see what happens. But
yeah,
the second Twin Disciplines now picked up means that this Viego should be pretty safe going forward.
yeah, not bad. You could see something cheeky like maybe swing in with Viego here too and pray for like a syncopate play. That could be cute, but just
Viego
the spider attack
is at 17 out of 20.
Okay.
So you can't really take that block because the mist will be at 3-3 now as well. Be 4-4 now as well, which will let Viego flip and give him an extra blocker on the next turn. Very tense position for both players here.
Can we check how many cards are in Vander's deck in terms of the atrocity top deck?
19.
19. Okay. So it's not horrid odds. Wait, is there 2 atrocities in?
Let me take a quick
Vander's
peek
versus?
here.
I can check too. See a twin here. Could be a twin into a self-vengeance. That would be quite funny. Just force the death of the spider.
Yeah,
Oh
it is
my
what it
God.
is. That is the line that he opted to take, and that's. I don't know if this is 5-head or 2-head, Max, but it's definitely exciting, and it looks like it's going to be a Galaxy Brain play.
It
Does, of course, have the syncopate up to protect this Viego from anything that might come after it. There's only a single Atro in this list.
Okay, so there's a 1 in 19 chance that that Vander has the atrocity lethal here, which is not great, frankly. We see another
Station Archivist.
drop. Should provide some nice answers to Viego and still allow Friend of Zoe to keep going wide. And there's the Vengeance that's just simply going to get syncopated.
Yeah,
so
that must have been picked up off of the Station Archivist, and it was. I caught that just in time.
All odds, Vander's kind of stabilized.
He's dead, right?
He's dead? Is he
He's
dead?
dead.
He's dead.
He's dead.
Alright. This game is over. Jesus.
Yeah, the extra Station Archivist was just too much. Unfortunately, even if you block down, you're still taking 6 here. At 7, actually, because of the spider. So, needed to save that Vengeance. Maybe a slight miscalculation. Had he kept the blocker, he would have been okay in this position, I think.
Friend of Zoe is advancing to a 1-1 record, I believe, after that. So, staying in the tournament. Vander, I believe, is at 2 losses at this point, so not too great for him.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, with 22 players in the tournament. Is it cutting to a top 4, top 8? What's the situation here?
I can ask Greg actually what we're cutting to, but it is winner take all for the prize money.
Oh, true.
So it's $50 on the line today, and it is winner take all. Only first place is getting paid, but that's okay. You didn't pay anything to enter these tournaments, unless, well, that's not entirely true. You paid for your MasteringRuneterra premium subscription, which gave you access to these tournaments, as well as all of our other lovely perks, like the premium articles on the website, the team calls in the Discord, and all that jazz that I'm sure all of you guys are so grateful for.
I would definitely buy that if I was planning to play in these tournaments and be very happy about all the value that it provides. You know, this is practice against like some of the best players. You get to play against Henneke, you get to play against Friend of Zoe there. You see like very, very strong players, Squeeby. So it's like definitely worth to, if you want to improve and become a better Legends of Runeterra player, like MasteringRuneterra is one of the best websites to do it. So definitely recommend checking it out, considering participating in these community events yourself. And we're going to get into this round 3. How long do you think we have, Monty?
I think we have enough time to cut to a quick break here. I personally need to get up and refill my water. I'm sure you're feeling very similarly, Max. So we'll be right back, guys. Thank you all for sticking with us through this break. We'll catch you soon. One. Welcome back to the MasteringRuneterra Road to Seasonal Tournament Series, everybody. Thank you all so much for sticking with us through that break. For those of you just tuning in, I'm MonteXristo, and I'm joined by my friend Maxgotthetracks, who is one of North America's best streamers.
I'm out here.
He is the best. He's the spot to be for all your late night shows. But while we're waiting for this next round to start up, we have picked out our pairing already. We've decided we're going to go into the Grave Trail versus Digester matchup. And Max, we've got some nice deck lists up here for you guys. This is Digester's lineup. We do have Udyr Galio. This is a very spicy list, brought on by some of the changes to the cards like Udyr and Hyara Allseer, which once again is currently bugged if you weren't aware. It doesn't quite make your stance swaps cost 0. It kind of turns them into a thermo beam. They cost as much mana as you have left. Inner Beast, also a great new addition to all the Udyr archetypes. Just a little bit of extra oomph for that deck. Do you have any comments to say about this deck list?
Inner Beast is kind of like a Pale Cascade where you know what you're getting. It's very nice, I think.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, actually. I haven't considered it like that.
I think
Durant Protege.
I think it's going to end up being probably the best of the 3 cards that were just added to the game, if I had to guess. Durant Protege, very spicy. Giving things tough is always really useful against... What is tough good against right now?
Tough is just a really low-key keyword, in my opinion. Especially with a lot of Udyr running around, there's going to be a lot of stuff like Ram Stance coming back and forth. The next deck we have is a run back. It's another Kindred Viego. This deck was definitely on the come up towards the end of last format.
Nope.
And no surprise that it is continuing to be around, is continuing to be here. Then the last deck coming out from the side of Digester is an ancient staple, Soraka Tahm-Kench. This is a deck we haven't seen in a while, Max. How do you feel about the resurgence of this in today's tournament?
Look, Monty, I don't want to be rude, but I never liked playing against Soraka Kench. Tommy always is making false deals with me, taking my units for free. I hate playing against this deck. I'm very surprised to see it around in 2022. But how do you say their name? Digester?
I say Digester. I don't know if that's right. He's going by the Z56 in game, so you could go by that if you like.
They make this deck popular again, I'm gonna have it out for them. That's all I'm gonna say. Moving on to Grave Trail's lineup.
We do have Monoshirima.
Classic Monoshirima. You know.
How are you feeling about this one?
But I don't think it was nerfed as bad as people were saying. I think like whenever a deck is nerfed, it's like okay, cool, we can stop playing it now. But it's like I think this is still a very solid deck, and especially in tournament, it still punishes control decks pretty heavily. So I like this pick from Grave Trail along with.
I gotta agree with you there, Max. A lot of people were saying just put in 2 Clockwork Curators over the 2 Bomber Twins that Kevor was running. That's kind of become the staple list. Don't see any of those added here, but this does look like a pretty staple Monoshirima list. I imagine that it's still going to do exactly what Grave Trail wants it to do in beating out control, which apparently is a pretty good strategy for this one because we do have 2 control decks from the side of Digester, or at least one very slow mid-range deck. Then we also have Yuumi Pantheon Taric. A little bit surprised to see Taric still here. There is quite a few bugs with him. He also no longer procs Faded units. How do you feel about this list, Max?
I think Grave Trail forgot to take out Taric. I'm really confused why he's still in this list. But I guess it's still really synergistic with the Bastions. If you want to punish control, Taric does still have some positive functionality, so I'm not going to judge it too hard before I see it in combat. Yeah, just pretty standard Pantheon Yuumi, you know.
And then the last list we have here is Ziggs Talia. And sorry, I am just trying to rush us along a little bit because the gentlemen have already gotten into their game. So just give us a brief overview of this one if you would so kindly take care of that, Max.
Go for it, yeah. Ziggs Talia, you got Unleashed Energy, 1 Spicy Tech, Herald of Magus. This deck destroys control. It punishes whenever you try to target their units with Ancient Hourglass, and it ends really strongly with Arsenal and Talia. So this is a very anti-control lineup, deals okay with aggro, and body's most, like, it's pretty interactive in the most mid-range stuff, so.
Yeah, 2 Arsenal, so
yeah.
There's this 2 Arsenal in there as well, so definitely trying to target those control matchups with this lineup. And yeah, here we have the game in play, and we do have the Kindred Viego list from the side of Digester up against Grave Trail's Monoshirima. And I think I have to give it to Monoshirima in this matchup. Like we talked a little bit about earlier, it's very much a favored matchup. Like, this is why Monoshirima exists in the current metagame, right? If you're bringing it, it's because you want to bust down control. And, well, Kindred Viego is kind of the ultimate control deck, playing that grinder prison-style gameplay.
Mm-hmm. I don't see Grave Trail has spectate on, or it doesn't even show he's in game for me. I'm a little confused. Might be my.
They're definitely in game.
Yeah,
they're definitely in game. That I can promise you.
Okay, I'm gonna try restarting my Runeterra and we'll continue. But yeah,
no problem. Yeah, and while we have the single hand, we do see that Grave Trail has managed to level up that Xerath pretty quickly. It's gonna come online, and in doing so, threaten to take out some of these units from the side of the Jester. The Jester, on the other hand, though, gonna leverage the Kindred to take out some of these chump units from the side of Grave.
Yeah, historically speaking, I think this Kindred Viego is not gonna do great into Monoshirima. It's because it gets you level your Xerath and it just obliterates the board, and you can't really set up the Viego effectively enough. If you ever try to get too aggro, you get punished by quicksands. So, historically speaking, I think Grave Trail's in a wonderful position here, but we'll see if Thez can get a little aggro and start to turn the tides, see if that nerf affected anything.
Yeah, the level 3 Viego, of course, is going to make it actually impossible for the level up to come through the level 3 Xerath is going to make it, with his Obliterate effect, is going to make it impossible for Viego to level up altogether. Units don't die, they are obliterated. That skips the graveyard phase that does sort of exist in Legends of Runeterra, and in doing so, they don't count towards his level up progress.
Okay, and I do have Grave Trail's hand pulled up if you want to go to my camera.
I will fix that in just a moment for everybody.
We see double Azir here, so looks like that landmark is about to pop any second now.
You might have to redo the link for me for the.
Oh, true. Okay.
But that's okay. We'll get that sorted out in just a second here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not looking great from the side of Jester. Can't really go in after the Xerath here. There's no good efficient way to do it. Can take an attack, but it's not going to do a whole lot. And Roiling Sands means that any developments are now going to get punished by the Xerath ability as well.
Yep. It's between a rock and a hard place, if you're Thez, because that Azir is coming down. I can guarantee you that.
Yes, it is. And actually, with the Hydrophine on the board, the Xerath is just going to be able to start picking things off left, right, and center. There's the Azir. He's leveled up. Emperor's deck is online. I think we're pretty safe to say that this is game one going to the side of Grave.
I hate to be a doomsayer, but remember Shirima. You know, it's over. Pretty much over. Xerath is level. We're just going to start obliterating the board. There's just nothing to do, unfortunately, for Thez here. It's just a bit slow, and hopefully we see a better game 2 and hopefully game 3 as well. But these anti-control decks are really gonna put a hurting on Viego. So yep, we see the concede, accepts his fate, the sandy grave, and move quickly on to game 2.
Yeah, and looks like game 2 is gonna get underway in just a second here. I wonder what the bans were. If we had to theorize on this, I would imagine that Grave Trail took out the Rocket Tomkench. I don't think we're going to get a chance to see that, and I spoke too soon. Right.
No, yeah, I mean, better than playing against Udyr. I think Udyr Galio is the most mid-range deck that Thez brought, so that's probably the logic, is you just want to body the control stuff, if I had to guess.
Yeah, that makes some sense. But I would figure with the 3 Hexplosive Minefields and the Talia Zigs that you're probably okay playing into the Udyr Galio deck. Especially given that while it is a mid-range deck, it is looking to play a little bit more control-y with the challengers and take some open passes and just play slower. Also, there's not a lot of draw available to this region combination. There's actually no draw available. It's only cycle. the difference there is minuscule, but it means cycle, meaning that your cards trade 1 for 1 rather than going +2 or +3, like something like salvage would do.
But Monty, we can Desert Naturalist their Star Spring.
That's true. We can. I didn't even think about that. That's definitely something we can do, Max. And it's a really good line as well.
If Grave Trail ever draws that, it's like gonna be an upward. It feels like this is already an upward battle for Des. But they're down to 13 health. It's like things are rolling for Grave Trail. There's the heal, so I'm not gonna pressure it too badly with the Broadback Protector. But yeah, we've seen Riot kind of backpedal on their landmark win cons and be like, maybe we don't want to make these as good as they previously were. Nerfing Bandletree and Star Spring hasn't gotten love in quite a while, so we'll see if Des can prove them wrong and show why they still are strong in the meta. But yeah, we're just gonna have to see.
I personally am a big fan of Riot kind of scaling back on these landmark win conditions. Star Spring, of course, being kind of the most interactable. You can just choose not to interact with their units a lot of the time, not to put damage on them. You can go under it, you can go over it with burn spells, stuff like that. It does have more clearly defined weaknesses than a lot of the other ones. But nonetheless, it can be something that we struggle with.
That's true. Grave Trail swinging in. The quicksands are gonna make it so that he can continue just engage with Dez's board regardless, and opts to just keep his Ziggs healthy as possible, which I like here. Avoid any Pale Cascade shenanigans, Bastion shenanigans that could have came out there.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised to see that we didn't try and trade off the Endless Devout there, but I guess, I know board space can be an issue with this list. I've suffered from it myself multiple times, so maybe just trying to take a slower, more measured approach, and that's something I can definitely get behind. Tahm Kench is going to hit the board, though, and let's see if he can start eating some units, eating some Sand Dwellers, and filling up his tummy.
It's one hungry Tommy, you know. Like I said, he's always making unfair deals. You always gotta pay the gambling man at the end of the day. Herald of Magus is huge, though. That Overwhelm is going to provide a pretty solid win con, assuming, let's see, does Des have the Hushes in hand?
Has a single Hush.
Sure, he has a single Hush, so that's going to help a lot. But nonetheless, that Magus is going to do a lot to just continue to pressure the board, and making a huge Ziggs does not hurt. So we see the Boxtopus kick the 2-1 here. And wow, the Unleashed Energy. Opts to not use it aggressively and just try to take out the Boxtopus. But I don't even think that's gonna work with the what is that? I forgot what that card is called. The Sunblessed Vigor and the Pale.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, actually, just lets it through.
Sunblessed. Decides, okay, I should just protect Tommy and eat this Ziggs real quick. That makes
Hourglass, of course, gonna be a good counter to this. And then that's going to open up the way for Grave Trail to play out the Magus, the Herald of the Magus. And then Tahm Kench might struggle to eat it. Of course, as you mentioned, Max, the Vez 56 here does have multiple protection spells for the Tahm Kench. Oh, going to use the Pale Cascade, though.
The Rocco was the one thing missing from Thez's strategy. A little bit of late game value you need to push you into a Star Spring range. So that's a really good top deck there. And we see Kench creates another spell to continue to try to eat the opponent's board up. So yeah, pretty interesting. I expect the Magus to be the first thing that just comes down. And yep,
yeah,
it's right there.
The one downside to this is it does open up the Tahm Kench spell to go after your units alongside the Sunblessed Vigor. With only 2 mana left and only 2 Hourglasses, 2 cards, 2 mana, there's only 2 Hourglasses in the deck. There's a good chance that would have gone through, and it might have been the correct line from Thez, but instead opts to play their Soraka, start getting the card draw back, and start filling up their hand again. Does have the second Tahm Kench as well, so not too concerned if this one does go down.
Right, that's something I didn't consider. If this Tommy dies, it's just like, it sucks, and you take a bit of damage. You take 4 damage, but you just replay the next one and you're kind of stabilized at that point. You can even hush Sigs if you really want to and keep it alive. You could do the hush and the vigor, and that will protect it, right? Yeah, it does.
It will?
It will, but it's not even worth it. Just save it for
No,
the
it's
next
not.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you were going to do that, you had to just open with the hush and the vigor, but instead is just going to be really put on the back foot here. Just wants to keep the broadback protector alive so that way they can continue advancing their Star Spring into the next turn. It is getting somewhat close here, going up to 7, 8, and then with Soraka on the open attack here, we're going to be able to heal up the broadback protector.
Up to 14 with the Soraka attack, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you attack with the broadback.
It's yeah, I think it's more than 14 actually, because this broadback protector now has 9 HP.
Oh, true.
And
also
Shakedown was picked up as well, so you can take specific targets. This is looking kind of good for Thez at this point. It's not looking nearly as doomed as it was a turn or two ago.
It's coming super down to the wire with the Talia top deck that can do a ton of damage, as she has Overwhelm as well thanks to the Herald of Magus. This is very tense. I think if the Hush is saved for Talia, it should be okay. But it's still a very crucial moment here for Thez. We're gonna see the drags come out here, so that way some optimal damage can be done. Take out those little units. I like that.
And you're actually kind of happy to see this if you're Grave Trail, because it's going to allow your Talia to duplicate the landmark, meaning that your Ziggs is going to deal more damage on when that counts down as well. Of course, Thez has no choice but to do this. This is also how his deck wants to win. So a little bit of an interesting matchup, a little bit of an interesting development in this matchup. It's not something that we've seen before. Obviously, these decks are, well, Talia Ziggs has recently cropped up in the meta game.
It's over. The game's over.
Oh, is it really?
No,
I think it is.
Wow, it's 20.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That top deck is exactly what was needed from Thez.
So good. Jeez, I was so scared about the Desert Naturals blowing up that landmark, but it wasn't even drawn. I was scared for Thez for nothing, and now Grave Trail is going to have to beat out the Kindred Viego we saw in game 1 and try to close out this set. So
I think that's going to be a bit of a scary matchup for the side of Grave. Kindred Viego can be very problematic for Talia Ziggs.
That infinite value, like Talia Ziggs is great and it does have tons of aggression, but Viego just like stealing those large units if he ever gets leveled is so crippling. It's very hard to prevent that Viego sometimes. Like your tricks are a bit your tricks like Rite of the Arcane and your tricks like pretty much just Rite of the Arcane. Like you don't have a lot to actually target interact with the other side of the board. It's a bit tricky. You just have to kind of beat them down. And with things like Spirit's Refuge, things like Deny, that becomes a really tricky task, especially if they're using Carnivore and Soldiers, if they ever get down a Hydravine and they're just summoning Chump Blocker after Chump Blocker. So
yeah, very well said, Max. Very good job of identifying how these decks are going to interact. And the one thing worth noting is that the Minefield might be able to save a good bit of damage from the side of Talia Ziggs. You could also set up multiple minefields or duplicate a minefield with a Talia into an open attack, and that could potentially be an avenue for Grave to find that lethal. But the arsenal, by the time it comes down, there's a good chance that Viego is going to be leveled up, and then you're just giving your opponent a big boy to mess you up with.
Yeah. An arsenal, I mean, the silver lining here for Grave Trail is that Thez has only included 2 copies of Vengeance, so if we do see the something like the Mages come down or like a good Absolver turn, it's gonna likely be very brutal for Grave Trail. Like it's gonna do a ton of damage to the Nexus, so that's just one silver lining. Here we see the Naturalist taunting Grave Trail, being like, "Oh, I'm here now. I heard you needed me."
Showed up just one turn too late for him, unfortunately, or 2 turns too late, I suppose. Actually, that was the top deck off the opening hand, so literally 1 turn too late. It's the wrong game, pal. You should have came last game.
Grave Trails might be kicking himself for not mulliganing harder for that, realizing that was like such a free win con essentially. But nonetheless, See the
Only
Talia
playing
get drawn
two.
off the Presbyterium.
Only playing 2 of the naturalist in the list, so it's debatable whether how hard you should be looking for it in that last matchup, but definitely a feels bad moment, you know.
Very true, very
He's
true.
setting himself up for a big tempo play here, though. Can go ahead and pop this landmark that he just played. Instead, gonna drop the Ziggs.
Interesting. Opting not to use the naturalist quite yet on the scrappy bomb. Just going to go in with Ziggs. Say I'll just take my chances. And the hapless Aristocat will be happy to chump block that. Not a big deal from Thez's side. Doesn't count as a slay, so still waiting to see if they have any way to, proc Kindred here. Start dealing with these little units.
Yeah, they might be able to. They might decide to go in for that glimpse here instead. Just gonna go ahead, accept the attack. We'll see what happens afterwards. Nope, doesn't go for the glimpse. Doesn't want to be vulnerable to a pokey stick. Grave Trail is on 3 of those, and that's a little bit interesting to me because that's the spot I've seen most people cut down. A lot of other people are on full set of Rite of Arcane, full set of Quicksand, full set of Hourglass, and dropping down on the pokey sticks. Just not feeling it's necessary in this lineup, in this deck. I personally prefer the pokey sticks myself. I think Grave Trail's list looks a little bit more like my own with that Unleashed energy. And Leah gonna duplicate the Scrappy Bomb here.
To put it simply, pokey sticks is like one of the best cards in the game. Like,
yeah,
despite Bandle City not seeing as much play right now, that doesn't change that that card is silly. It's like just deal damage and draw a card. It's simple and strong. So, like you said, I don't hate it, especially in something like Talia Ziggs, where it's like you need a couple like curve out cards here and there because it can be a bit clunky with landmarks.
You can definitely fall behind on in-card advantage as well, unless you're playing for that double Preservarium with Talia, that so many people do go for. So having the cycle available to you in the form of the Pokey Stick as well as some interaction, because as you identified earlier in this game, we really only have Rite of Arcane outside of it, and that's slow speed and really quite clunky.
Mm-hmm. So, do you think we get the aggressive land explosive minefield here? That levels Talia, no?
It should level Talia, yeah. And then we can go in with the Unleashed energy to stun 2 things.
Nope.
Instead...
Bursted Quicksand.
Yeah. This Unraveled Earth comes out. Levels up Talia as
Earth,
well.
sorry.
That's okay. And this is also going to threaten to push some damage alongside the Ziggs. And here comes a full swing. Well, not a full swing. A champion swing from both sides.
Pretty thematically on brand that both players have both their champions just sitting in the board doing what they're supposed to do. You know, Thez is just sitting back these units in the back row and waiting for them to get stronger, while Grave Trail's swinging as hard as he can, trying to burst that Nexus down with the chaotic Talia and Ziggs. So I really enjoy how this game is developing so far.
And this is an interaction I didn't consider in this matchup. The Mists passively generating are going to start proccing these landmarks and letting Ziggs deal damage. We'll see if maybe Grave Trail has the option to go in for an aggressive Hourglass and put down a second Ziggs. That'll put Thez at, that'll deal 4, so 3 damage, 3 HP. With the Pokey Stick, that's potentially a lethal option.
Right, I mean, Ziggs is one of those 3-cost cards that feels like sometimes it should cost 4. It feels like it should cost like 3.5 mana, but there's no 3.5 mana. So, if like you said, if they want to get super aggressive, they could have went down the Hourglass route instead. Just deciding to Pokey Face, which I respect as well. You know, looking for more options while the Kindred Viego starts to get pretty threatening. Glimpse Beyond is gonna get Viego up to 6 here, and then the other ephemeral dying, it's up to 8, so it won't be too long before that Viego is leveled and killing units, and along with Kindred getting its proc, things are developing on both sides. So does Thez have the lifesteal card? He does not. Does top deck a lifesteal? I mean a Vile there, which is really nice. Yeah,
it's something. Will it be enough though? Vile Feast is going to come out. This will put the Ziggs under pressure here. Can opt to protect it with the Unleashed energy. Can go for the Hourglass itself. Can also just Pokey Stick your own 3/1 to stop this. I think that is probably my preferred line of play, and it looks like Graves sees it.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, this keeps the rest of your
Uh,
options open. If this forces out a deny or something silly, like you're really happy with that, yeah, you would much rather this be denied than, well, I guess there aren't a whole lot of other deny targets, but it keeps your Ancient Hourglass online, which will let you keep your champions protected. And that's going to go
another
through.
ancient
Second Hourglass
hourglass.
picked up.
These can be so crazy with Ziggs if Grave Trail decides to use them aggressively. So
And I
I
think
urge him.
if there's ever a point to do so, it is
It's
now.
now. I mean, after this point, you're just gonna want to start slamming these arsenals. So why not go for it, right?
Well,
You're
you
not
might
really
want to
scared of.
duplicate the keywords with the arsenal too, right? That's
Oh,
like the one big payoff. This I really don't like actually.
what's
This
the
is
point of
like,
this?
yeah, this does nothing. Developing your board, you're at full HP still. Like you could be a little bit concerned about a. Oh
You're
man.
getting chump blocked though. Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly. I don't know. You could have also just played this out as a 2/4. You do have a burst speed way to develop this next time with the unleashed energy.
Done
This is
something.
fine. Like it's not the end of the world. I don't think it's the worst played of all time, but
You know, I guess the logic is that you want the answer to the kindred. Once they kill their own unit, you don't want one of your champions to die, which I guess is fair.
we have two
Right.
hourglasses. So if that like if they do kill their
No,
own
no, no.
unit,
Like the proc from kindred.
yeah, but you can hourglass your unit to carry it over into the next turn anyways. So if they've tapped
Oh,
out,
true, true. No,
right?
you're right. Yeah.
And
No,
it's the Ziggs, which is the unit that you want to be hourglassing in this spot anyways, because you do have the second one as
yeah.
well. Obviously, this is
Yeah.
definitely a caster vision moment as well, right?
That's,
I don't think that this play is necessarily wrong. I just having the full information, knowing that Vez has no real way of killing their own units and activating the Kindred, and knowing that you are threatening a very real lethal with this, it makes a lot of sense for us. That said, this Absolver picked up off the top is potentially huge.
huge absolver. Will get owned away, but still.
Palm has to come out preemptively on the Talia to survive here. Because Talia herself, or unless Viego blocks, I guess. Talia herself is threatening lethal here. And yeah. Oh, Palm is going to come out preemptively anyways.
So you just drop that absolver on Ziggs, right?
Okay, the swap
Oh,
is going to come out now.
there you go, that makes sense. I was gonna say it might be the syncopate after that happened anyways, but Bez decided to essentially pre-synco, which I respect. Yeah,
So now what do you
no,
do?
I don't. I is the absolver still lethal?
It's
On
not.
Viego?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because
Maybe.
you put the
It is.
Viego at 6, and then yeah, if you double
Yeah.
absolver the Ziggs, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And then it forces the deny.
The deny. Oh yeah, you deny the Zigg spell.
The Zig spell, right?
Yeah. Or the Zig skill, sorry. Wow, Grave Trail found pretty much a winning line. I mean, I think this game is pretty much over.
I think so
Dez
too.
could just not get anything going. I mean, the backline units are great, but when Ziggs and Talia are just swinging at your Nexus for like tens of health each turn, it's really just not sustainable defense. So yeah,
Yeah.
very good
This
from
is
Grave Trail.
very well played from Grave Trail.
Showed why you don't want to bring Kindred Viego against anti-control lineups that are ever
And
present in the meta. So
there is no notifies from this list either, so both these hourglasses now safe to be played on the remaining units. Ziggs can come down as well, and then that's 4 damage at burst speed into the open attack. Ziggs is going to come down here, and will he go for it? I think you kind of have to, right?
yeah,
Like I'm looking at the deck list right now. The only punish to this is Black Spear. And if no Black Spear comes out there, you can do it on your Talia just to deny that, just in case they were doing something wonky. And Grave does that as well. That's the GG. Grave Trail takes the set 2-1.
2-1, 2-1. Respect Dez for getting that juicy Star Spring window. You have to respect that. Like,
Yeah,
I
I think you
honestly-
really got to respect that.
yeah, you bring us Tom Soraka, it's like you're doing something original, and that's it's worth noting. It's worth noting. But Grave Trail is an incredibly fierce competitor, and that's gonna get him the win, and I believe he's undefeated, right, Monty? Or am I?
I would have to check that, but yeah, looks like Grave Trail is currently undefeated at...
We have.
That was actually the first game he dropped all day. Oh, no. It looks like 3-3. So, no, not undefeated. 50-50 exactly. Up until now. Now it's better than 50-50.
All right.
Excuse me.
I was totally wrong there. Do we have
Yeah,
another
it's
match
okay.
you can jump into? Let me
That's what I'm
check.
trying to find out. I have both Infinite Patrons and Squeeby, so we can get into either side of that one. It
You
appears
do
to still be
Squeeby, I got
ongoing.
patrons.
Yeah, I got that. We got it. We on it. Get right into this in just a second for you guys. And it looks like Squeeby is on Aphelios, and Patrons is back on that Threshnasis. And yeah, actually looks like we jumped in just in time to see Squeeby lose to a 16-16 Susie.
True, you love to see it. Fearsome is everything, man. Fearsome is everything. That's just what Nasus needs to be a strong threat in the early game and get to level, right?
Absolutely. It is exactly what I love to see the Nasus coming back. The change to grant Fearsome back is actually so huge. It enables you to play that early aggressive strategy like I love to do. It really changes things up quite significantly.
Going into, I think this should be the final game. Yep.
Oh, is it still
Patrons.
ongoing? I assumed it was done, but amazing.
No. They're going to game 3 here.
17 minutes left on the clock. Will we see a clock victory? Wouldn't be Squeeby's first L.
Squeeby, a notoriously patient player, you could say. Notoriously curious and considering player.
And Patrons
Having
is on the
taken-
Talia Malphite. Love to see it.
Oh my gosh, no chance.
We didn't get
This
to
is
see it
so
earlier
weird.
because Henneke was a no fun gamer and banned it out. But Patrons, being a teammate, being in that being on Team Chip in the Aegis Academy League, has got the skills that are necessary to pilot this deck. Has learned from the master himself.
On the exact same list as Roji, might I note, double
Of course.
Celestial Wander, double Stonebreaker, you know.
That'll be the list I
Very
probably pinch as well when I go to play this on ladder after we're done here.
No, yeah, I couldn't blame you for that. Meanwhile, Squeeby's got his Zoe Aphelios Vi. Nothing too notable. A single copy of Moonlight Affliction and some Mountain Goats. So yeah, pretty much just a standard Talia. I mean, a Zoe Vi Aphelios. Exactly what you would expect. Maybe one notable thing is the exclusion of any ambush here. But remember, that deck played it beforehand anyways, so...
Some people did, some people didn't. It depends on which version you want and what matchups you're targeting. If you're looking to be a little bit more aggressive, or if you're looking to play some sort of gimmicky strategy where you kind of cheese out your opponent on ladder with a surprise, that's definitely a spot to check. But this does look pretty similar to the list that Floppy Mudkip and Quacko were playing the other day. I don't know if everybody in the chat caught some of that money match from Quacko and Kevor, but this is pretty close to that list.
I frankly wish I hadn't. It was it's not pretty.
It
Kevor
was
just kind of
something to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't watch it all. I just had to exit after a certain amount of games. I was like, it's pretty ugly. But Squeaky getting a
Understandable.
pretty solid start. Ballistic Bot proven it can still get some attack going, which is, you know, nobody's surprised. And
Patrons also starting off pretty strong, though. Has that Spire on 4. If he can top deck the Talia, he's going to feel really good about it. If not, he still does have a way to get it to 4 out of 4 and achieve that mini level up condition, as I love to put it.
And one time I was fortunate enough to receive some coaching from Grandpa Roji about how to most effectively use his baby Malphite Talia, and it really all revolves around the Salt Spire. As weird as that sounds, if you can effectively get a Salt Spire, maybe combo with the Talia, maybe just get it down on the board and make a huge unit, it changes everything. It's crazy how strong this card is for something that nobody else but Roji plays. So
Yeah, it's a
big
shame that
swing
it's
from
not really
Squeaky.
viable in any other decks either, too. Like, it is such a crazy powerful card. You'd think, like, there's got to be some kind of overwhelm list that might want to make use of it, but no. Unfortunately, there isn't. And here, the Celestial Wonder showing its power, but also means that the Salt Spire is now not going to be able to do anything other than create just a Grumpy Rock Bear, and that feels bad.
Doesn't feel good. Patrons maybe wanting to have opted to just take a chunk of damage there and use that Preservarium instead to make sure you get a strong unit popped off. But I also respect not wanting to just like go into burn range because there are 3 Get Excited and 3 Mystic Shot as well. So
yeah, we can see from the side of Squeeby in his hand, he's got the 2 Mystic Shots, got the Get Excited there too. So I respect the line from patrons. I think it's wise.
Chip top deck. Hopefully Absolution's not around to steal that little buddy. Meanwhile, Aphelios got developed by Squeeby last turn. Gonna start generating value. What are the good weapons against Talia? Malphite.
Gravitum, right?
Gravitum,
Just
yeah.
want to continuously lock it down. The Calibrum was picked up by Squeeby instead. We'll see what he chooses to shoot here. Patron's going to be able to refill the board quite effectively, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the chip, he's got the clockling, so plenty of blockers here. One thing I might, well, it's just unfortunate that Patrons hasn't drawn Quicksand right now, is all I'll say. Because that is very helpful against this aggression the Squeeby's pumping out right now, so maybe it'll be top deck next turn, maybe in the future. It will be crucial to helping him survive, but right now, it's a threatening board state the Squeeby's developed. With those 5, the Ballistic Bot, the Stun, the Poros, they're all gonna keep pushing damage, so. Seeing Patrons try to figure out what do I do, who do I need to protect, how aggressive can I be with this 5-4, the answer is not at all. So, yeah.
There's an argument to say that you should probably attack there, knowing that the Gravitum's coming down, just to see if you can get something to clear out. I think if Burn is going into this 5-4, you're pretty happy with that, and you shouldn't feel too bad. Especially since, yeah, like I said, it's going to get Gravitum locked now.
Good point. That's a very good point. You might just want to, well, if the rock, let's say the rock bear does die, do you just Gravitum the next unit and then you're like kind of sad as well? Like it eating the Gravitum does kind of serve a defensive purpose as well, maybe, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's close for sure. Like you said, there is no ambush in the deck from the side of Squeeby, so you're not feeling incredibly threatened by this just yet. But these elusives are going to start adding up. And those are something that you can't really block. Did you happen to get a chance to take a look at what the options were there and if Infinity picked one of them? Talia, I guess, was...
Yeah. Let's try to get a win con, which is pretty good. No Malphite in sight, unfortunately. One thing I will note, this is like a super small point of minutia, but I really appreciate that Patrons started with the Ancient Prep and then the chip just to... give Squeeby less information about how wide he would be able to go with the defensive board. So just a cute little, like, those plays can make all the difference sometimes, and Patrons is making sure to order his cards correctly. So I definitely wanted to point that out. But the chip is not going to help block any of these elusive units, unfortunately. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Patrons to continue to survive this game before you can develop an effective lethal swing.
Yeah. And if Squeeby is 5-head enough, he's only going to swing with these elusive units, so that way Patrons has a board locked up and can't make use of this Talia that he just picked up.
That's a good point. That's a good point. You definitely don't want to swing the Ballistic Bot into something like the Devout, of course, because that's just awful. So maybe the Infernum onto the Devout here, and then we'll see Ballistic trade with Magus. Oh, Infernum, sorry. Oh, Infernum. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, this is huge. Oh, this is huge, Monty. That's an 11-4 overwhelm unit.
Yep.
Oh, Monty.
That's a 12-4
where did that come
overwhelm
from?
unit.
That's a 12-4.
So we're pushing 5 elusive damage right now, and then we're pushing 8 over the top. So that puts us well within lethal range here.
Yep, with all the burn in hand, I think it's about over, right?
I think so. I think Squeeby's going to lock this one down. 17 minus 4 is 13, and then, well, there's no healing in the deck, and we do see 7 points of burn available. Squeeby finding the way to victory. I wonder if this is a bad matchup or if it's just an uncomfortable one. And by uncomfortable, I mean that it's close, but if you know your way around it, you can do okay. Squeeby opting to use the Pale Cascade, knows that he has the burn on the next turn. Now has no longer has the ignition because the bot's surviving, actually. So it does have the ignition, does have the get excited, does have the 2 mystic shots. This
It's over. It's over.
is
Monty.
super over.
It's over. It's over. Game is terminado. There's nothing left for patrons to do, and he concedes, understanding I didn't draw any right of negation. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Is it just a clunky matchup, or could have Grandpa Roji done better in the hands of a more experienced pilot? I would say patrons played that fine. I think he
so
did
too.
mostly what he could. Without the quicksand draws, without a crazy Salt Spire combo, I don't think there's really much you can do. And I appreciate Squeeby putting on the aggression there to make him uncomfortable. It's definitely respect to Squeeby for recognizing what he has to do. But yeah.
I have to agree with you there, Max. I think it is probably just one of those that's not the best matchups, but it is what it is. And it looks like that was the last matchup in this round as well. So we'll just give it a second or two here for the next bracket to load. But while we're at it, I just want to give once again a massive shout out to all of the viewers in chat who have been so phenomenal coming out to check out our games and check out the broadcast. And also a massive shout out to our sponsors, communitygaming.io. They have worked with MasteringRuneterra in the past to bring us all this phenomenal stuff. All these phenomenal tournaments that MasteringRuneterra has put on, as well as this tournament series as well. So
shout out Community Gaming for providing a bag for us Runeterra gamers to try and collect each week. Do you want to speak to MasteringRuneterra's overall tournament format and what this is building up to?
Yeah, we can do that. That's a great idea, Max. Thank you for suggesting that, because I wasn't going to consider it. So what this is this is a new initiative by MasteringRuneterra. We're going to have tournaments every single day leading up to the Seasonals broadcast. For those of you who may not know what the Seasonals is, Riot is kind enough to put on a massive $10,000 tournament for us every 2 months or so. It's been a little bit longer this time, but we've had a little bit of a longer season than normal. And
20,000.
Is it, what? I guess 10,000 grand prize.
Yeah, 10,000 grand prize, 20.
10,000 grand prize, 20,000. Yeah, fair enough. No, you're good. So MasteringRuneterra, of course, feels like there are not enough tournaments in the scene, and I have to agree. As a competitive player, as a caster, I love everything to do with tournaments. Max, I'm sure you feel much the same. And because of that, we have come out and put on these tournaments every single day to give you guys a training gauntlet. These tournaments are available exclusively to MasteringRuneterra subscribers, premium subscribers. You can get access to them for the lowest tier of premium subscription. That also gives you access to stuff like the team calls, the premium articles on the website. There's so much valuable stuff in this subscription package. If you want to check it out, you can head over to MasteringRuneterra.com and take a look and see if it's maybe something you're interested in. It's there is some exceptions to these though. We're gonna run a couple weekend tournaments where we've also partnered up with GG Tour, and they have put in some extra cash into the prize pool, and those are going to be free for anybody to register for. Those are fantastic opportunities as well. If you're watching this and thinking, "Damn, I don't have the money to sign up for MasteringRuneterra Premium," well, again, it's not super expensive, but that's okay. Not everybody can afford things. Not everybody has a credit card. Everybody's financial situation is different. We understand that, and we have still come out to put on a phenomenal tournament on the weekends alongside GG Tour, and you're more than welcome to play in those for $0.
If you didn't understand what Monty just said, there's tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament. Visit MasteringRuneterra.com to find the tournament, play in the tournament, get better, prepare for the seasonal, and enjoy this wonderful content. Yes. What else, Monty? How much?
Thank you for
game round 4. I'm doing the spark notes for the people out there.
Yeah. No, it's necessary. I tend to ramble as well.
Fine.
Round 4 should be up in just a second. Greg, I'm sure, is just waiting for Squeeby and patrons to report. And as soon as they have reported, the round will fire. Greg is usually very, very quick about that, and honestly, a fantastic tournament admin. Guy does a wonderful job with all the back-end stuff. Does a lot of stuff for the website as well. And give your shout outs to Greg when you see him. Guy deserves respect and love and support for the work that he does here in helping put these tournaments on. Solves problems very quickly and efficiently. Great guy. Pleasure to work with.
Actually the GOAT. Super helpful. I myself
and
have asked him. I'm like I'm one of those annoying tournament players because I don't play tournaments too often. I'm like, hey, is the round ready? I keep messaging the TO, and he's always super helpful. Goated TO, appreciate all the work he does for the Runeterra community. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If you want, Max, we can cut to a quick break, but I'm hoping that round will be up in just a second here.
I'm chilling. I would like to think who. Okay, let's check the standings real quick.
Yeah,
We've
that's a
got
good idea. I can bring that
Cameron
up on screen.
Hanzo is 4-1. Oh wait. Oh, I might need to refresh mine.
Yeah, you might need to refresh. So at the top of the list, we have Ferretto with 6.
Ferretto.
Why are there draws in this? I don't know what a draw.
I'm so confused myself. I don't know.
Okay, Ferretto, Mukhtar are leading up the top of the bracket. Grave Trail and Obi-John are following closely behind. Squeeby, Jester, Fezzibu are right there with them as well. Of course, actually, we're going to see Squeeby bump up to that 6 and 2 bracket of his own, I believe, or maybe 6 and 3. I don't know. These are weird. These are weird draw breakers, eh?
Weird scores. Yeah, I'm a bit confused. Fredo bringing a very standard non-new card lineup. So he's got Zoe Aphelios, Vi, Victor Lee Sin, and Caitlyn Ezreal. So one thing to note, historically speaking, when a new patch drops, if you're a tournament competitor and you really want to do well, you're not trying to experiment, you're simply trying to win, just play the tried and true. It is traditionally a very strong strategy to just play decks that have been proven well and have solid matchups across the board. But I definitely respect those who want to test a bit more and just bring wild lineups with Udyr and Galio and Lux and all that fun stuff as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I myself would be a tester today if I was participating. I would probably be playing some janky stuff. I've started trying out some LeBlanc Udyr on ladder. I don't know how good it's actually going to be, but it shows some small amounts of promise. And there's literally no better spot to test out your janky builds than in a tournament like this. You can put it up against competent lineups and competent players and really put it to the test and see, hey, is this something I can actually look to bring to the seasonal in a couple weeks?
You don't have to interweigh your LP to test here, which is really crucial.
Yeah, you just got to interweigh your chance at the $50 top prize. But that's okay. There's so many of these, you can miss out on one. You can spend one to take a test.
Yeah. It could work too if you have a good confidence in the lineup, you know.
Absolutely. Like I said, I'd be bringing some jank, Max. You know me. You've seen me on the ladder. I play some random shit sometimes.
You're a wild one, Monty.
Taking a look at the second players, Mukhtar is on Riven Fizz, Kenanari, and Dresbo Pile. This is actual Dresbo Pile. This is like copy pasted.
No. We got Scales of the Dragon. I take that back. And we've
this has been changed now, right? Like this is a card that I'm pretty sure Dresbo used to run in Dresbo Pile way back in the day. And now that it's been buffed, it kind of got stealth buffed. For those of you who don't know, the card that it summons, that card that it creates is a focus speed card now, which means that you don't have to give over priority to activate it. And that's huge. +3 is massive. People were calling for Twin Disciplines nerfs because it gives 3 HP. Well, now you can give something 3 HP permanently for the low cost of playing a 4/2 unit, which is still a pretty good unit for 3 mana.
Oh, it's solid. 4/2. It's not a bad stat line. Helps with the fearsome blocks if Nocturne ever becomes relevant. It's like.
And it looks like we do have our bracket up now. Round 4 is ready to fire. Are there any matchups you'd like to pick out here?
What are we seeing? You're going to have to read them out to me.
We've got, well, I'm broadcasting on Discord for you, but we've got Ferretto versus Mukhtar. That is our top 2. That's all good. That's all good. Why don't we get into our top bracket matchup? I think that's a fantastic idea.
If you have Mukhtar, I'm down.
I can look and see if I do, and if not, I can add them.
I played against Ferretto in Fight Night, so I should have him added. Unless he deleted me. I don't even see him online.
He is online. I have Ferretto. I know he's online. So I've sent friend requests to the other side. Hopefully we'll get an accept there.
I'm going to do the same thing where I...
Cut us back to the cast.
Is he in a friend game right now?
Is he? Is my thing glitching then?
I think I'm just going to have to open and reopen Runeterra again, unfortunately. and I'll reset it.
They haven't started yet, but oh, you're saying your thing is glitchy. Okay.
Yeah, I see. My apologies. My Runeterra
No, you're good.
Today for some reason.
That's okay. My head's being a little bit slow, and just remember that you'll have to fix the second hand for us.
Yeah. Yeah, this should be a very spicy matchup. Actually, I'm so hyped to see Dresbo pile into the shenanigans.
Dresbo pile is leading up the bracket here. Like that's kind of incredible.
Yeah. Okay. It just shows Ferretto's online now, so we should be good, right?
Okay. So the community gaming website is a little bit silly, and it thinks 2-0s being a best of 3 are a draw for whatever reason. So anytime we see a draw, it's because there was a 2-0, and the website system thinks that there always has to be a third game played. So when that third game is clocked in as a 0-0 score, it counts as a draw, I guess.
I see. Well, community gaming's gonna have some growing pains. We'll communicate that to them and show our appreciation for their support.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing a fantastic job of adjusting the website. So, I don't know if you remember there when we were doing the single elim tournaments, there was a lot of complaints that they were single elims. Well, now we have Swiss availability. They did that just for us. So they really truly have been such a fantastic sponsor for Mastering Runeterra and for these events.
Investing into lore community. It's like really lovely to see. Hoping to support us.
Is my client bugging now? I was just going to say, is my client bugging now? Because I do have both players now. So the moment they can get in, I can jump into either side. Whoever you have up, just let me know.
Yeah, I'll have Ferretto. They start.
Okay, so I will get ready to go into Mukhtar's side, and we're going to get to see some interesting lists here. I'll take us back into the deck list so we can take a look at them while we're waiting for these gentlemen to begin. Perfect. From the side of Mukhtar, we have Riven Fizz. This is a list that has evolved a little bit from where it was previously. We have access to stuff like Friendship now, Wallop being a good offensive and defensive card in this list. Basically, the whole point of this list is to kind of cheese out a win with the double attack on Fizz or on Riven. This is also even more interesting now because we can cast a fast speed spell and open attack at the same time.
You're reading my mind, Monty. The Wallop and the Pogi Stick became so much stronger in this deck now that Fizz doesn't need to wait for them to resolve to gain elusive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can open with the Pogi Stick on the stack, and you're not reliant on a burst speed spell. You can save it as a backup if you want. And then the next deck is Ari Kennen. This is the Shurima Absolver list. This is a throwback. I am very surprised to see that it's still here. There's notably 0 Seinen, and there's only 1 Godwillow Seedling, so this is definitely a list that's playing for a little bit more aggression than it was in the past. 3 Blade Twirlers, 3 Navori Conspirators. This just makes sense when you're going in on this more aggressive line of play here. And then the final list is the Dresbo pile, which, if you don't know, was piloted to rank 1. This is Ionia Victor control, and maybe it's mid-range. I honestly don't know what to call this one, Max.
It's Ionia Victor and friends. It's unpredictable and it's powerful, and I'm excited to see how it does against this Fizz Riven combo.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised to see it being picked up over a more standard Victor Lee Sin list, because it is definitely something that gains a fair bit from the surprise value of closed deck list format. Being in an open deck list, I can kind of play around stuff like Dawn and Dusk and Dragon's Rage and give it all a little bit better. I can start trimming off your board and whatnot. Death Ray as well is kind of a card that can clunk your draws up a little bit, and as a result...
I misspoke. I thought Ferretto was using the Dresbo Power. Though it's actually, we're not gonna see the Dresbo Power right now, but
not quite yet.
I agree with you. Yeah, it is a little bit less effective in the open deck list, like you said. Granted, 1-ofs are still super strong in open deck lists because they get in your opponent's head, and it's like,
do I play around it? Do I not? And there's so many 1-ofs. So, you really have to consider, how many options do they actually have to respond to this? And out of those options, which one is in their hand right now? It makes it impossible to hand read effectively, I think.
Yeah. Very difficult, at least.
But as far as the game on our screen is going, Mukhtar has had a pretty aggressive opener. being able to push 3 damage, even through an Eye of the Dragon. Riven and Fizz both picked up exactly on curve. Has a Blade of the Exile available. Can opt to go for it if they want. Of course, Ferretto does have the Deny available, but it's going to tap under it. So Blade, a very good option here.
You think they should stack it all on Riven right now?
I think it's... Well, I think you stack it all on...
Oh, yeah.
I think you...
Stack it on the 3-1 and then give Riven the big one.
Yeah. I think it's a definite consideration. I don't know if it's the proper line, but it's something you definitely want to look at.
Yeah, Ferretto's running no Nopify, so this will 100% get through, like you said. Great spot you identified there. Not even a Mystic Shot to deal with the 3-1. So yeah, we're just going to see Mukhtar go in, which is very hype. You cannot pass here. You used to be able to pass here. But you cannot burst past these Riven, what are these things called? Pieces?
Blade Fragments.
Blade Fragments, thank you. Cannot burst past those Blade Fragments, but that's the big change there. You know, you can't inch them out like you used to be able to.
These players are at the top of the bracket for a reason, right, Max? They haven't been making those mistakes that you and I have. That's why they're here competing and not sitting on the desk, and that's why they are at the top of the bracket, like I said.
And just for context, this is round 4 out of how many, do you know? If it's
it looks like we're gonna go to 6 today. And then wait, no, it might be the last round actually. And then we have cut to top 4, which will be semifinals, finals. I think that's another feature of this game. So I think this is the last round for us. Of the Swiss anyways. We are of course gonna have semifinals and then finals afterwards. We're gonna broadcast the whole thing. So yeah, thank you all so much for joining us today.
7 health, Monty.
Yeah.
7 health. Can you believe that? Ferretto
it's kind of
just dropped
crazy.
a little too low. Just committing a little too much that last turn.
And now we have the friendship as well to ensure that this Riven is always protected.
It's got spell shield.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
It is only temporary spell shield, right? Yes, temporary spell shield.
Yeah.
But still, that's all you need, right? Like it doesn't need to be like a Bastion where you pre-commit it, because you can just respond accordingly.
Yeah.
Pokestick gonna come out and try and deny some of the healing from the side of Ferretto. I don't know that this is necessary, but I don't hate it either.
I like it. I mean, it saves the health, gets you one closer, and maybe you get to force out a deny. That'd be cool. Yeah. Force out, pardon me, a twin that you don't want to use. You know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Reconsidering now.
Yeah.
Besides that, they actually want to let it through.
I think they want to use the Pokestick on the attack and just be more patient for that interaction. Let Ferretto reach a little bit more if they want to before they decide how to use that. I wouldn't be surprised if Fizz came down this turn just to get him in quickly on the open attack, but we do see the Poro Cannon, so that's definitely a lot less effective now. Granted, we have Might, so don't know. It also depends what Blade Fragment Riven decides to generate on the round open, which I believe is random, right?
Sorry, I got distracted.
Blade Fragment is... No, you're fine. The Blade Fragment is a random Blade
sort
Fragment
of.
On the...
It's sort of. It's set random, so every time you have a full set, it's always going to complete the set first before giving you a new set. Mm-hmm. Now that a new set's been... Now that a blade's been completed, the order in which they come in are going to be random, exactly like you said, yeah.
Right, okay, yeah. You can't, double up the Blade Fragments.
Exactly.
Unless you generate 4, and then, I don't know. It's not relevant right now. So we Pokestick the Dragonling. Take a lot of damage, but it shouldn't matter too much.
There's a little bit of burn. So maybe we should be considering a block here, but...
There's 3 Mystic Shot,
But it would have to be exactly 3 Mystic Shot, right? And that's kind of a stretch, right?
It's not gonna happen.
I don't think it's happening.
No.
And this is looking like it's probably going to be done here.
Pray that he gets one of his only copy of Spirit's Refuge, I think, to block Riven. Might be the only way he survives here. So pre-commit Spell Shield, which I'm not sure the purpose.
I think I would have just opened Might myself. Might on the Fizz, guarantee that damage gets through, and then respond with the Spell Shield afterwards, if necessary. keeping that 4 mana available lets you do some funny stuff with the blade fragments. Also, we had a glinting blade fragment here, so
good.
that's 2 damage.
That's actually the optimal one, yeah.
Yeah, we just
'Cause
put
you
4
already have
damage onto the Riven, right? And then that lets Fizz attack, that lets the Riven attack. We keep the rest of our mana up, so that way if we really need it because of a Twin Disciplines or something, we can use the Reforge and the Might this turn. If there is something that comes out to try and threaten one of your 2 champions, you can respond with the Friendship instead. Still, I think this is going to end up being just fine for the side of Mukhtar here. And
he's so far ahead, he can just afford to not overthink these interactions and just go big, just swing, and you probably win regardless. So I respect that. Block. Well, actually, no. This could bite him in the butt a little bit, cause you didn't use the double on a Riven. So if you pre-commit and try to go for lethal with the Might now, it's opening you up to the double like concussive palm, the mystic shot palm, stuff like that. So
yeah,
I think
this could have bitten him for sure. We're lucky. I don't think it's going to.
no
Mystic shot could stop Fizz.
Yeah, I mean it could, but it's not. Yeah.
Can look for it with the time trick that he found off the deep meditation.
Was that both cards? It was the Poro Cannon and the time trick?
Yes.
Okay. Yep, so yeah, it's just gonna come down to this time trick, see if you can find an answer. And if Fredo gets a Mystic Shot here, it will be probably lethal on the next swing, right? So
yeah,
huge moment here. Flex that fist bump card back and see if it gives you luck on the Mystic Shot.
Found it. Oh no.
Oh,
Mukhtar punished.
Mukhtar.
Punished. Oh, unfortunate.
So
just
punishing. He hits the sad Poro emote. Which
yeah,
is,
just a slight misstep. Just needed to open that up differently, and then you win the game. That friendship just didn't need to be committed, and you can hold that as a response. Wait for your opponent to spend the mana first.
There's no mini morph. There's nothing that requires the burst speed there. It's so unfortunate. And Mukhtar realizing his mistake just hits the concede, acknowledges that it's over. I have no chance on that one. So tragic line. Very unfortunate.
It's a learning moment, as we would say.
A learning moment. Credits to Fredo for keeping his head in the game after going to turn 7 on that turn. It was I don't know if I would have been as eager to get aggressive as Fredo was there, but he swung back and he put himself in a position to capitalize on Mukhtar's mistake there. So mark of a good player for sure.
Fredo clearly showing an understanding of their deck and how they can play with it and how deep and how how much damage they can take effectively.
And now he's on his Zoe Aphelios Vi. One interesting thing about this list is the Veiled Temple. That's kind of cute. But other than that, you know.
Yeah, the Veiled Temple is pretty hot, and it's something that I've seen a few of the OTK players come up with. And I'm a big fan, actually. I don't think that the card has lost quite as much power as we think it has. I think, like you pointed out early in the broadcast, things get nerfed and people just kind of throw them to the wayside and say, it's that meme of Sid dropping Woody and saying, I got a new toy now or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. The meme, yeah. The Toy Story meme where Woody's falling from the kid's hand. Yeah,
that's the one.
Yeah, I don't want to play with you anymore.
Mukhtar once again finds both their champions before on turn 3. So this is a good start for this game as well. We'll see if they can keep their head together and pilot this one back to a W to take us to game 3.
It's gonna be an uphill battle because Fredo has his money cards, which are those 2 copies of Hush in hand. It's gonna be really difficult for Mukhtar to fight through those when you're just kind of dealing with their main win cons so easily. You just Hush right here, cool, and I'll block it with Spacey Sketchy. Why not? You know, it's like it's a really rough swing. You just invested in that Fizz and it did absolutely nothing. So I think Fredo's kind of slated here to become the first seed of the tournament, but it's not over yet. We'll see if Mukhtar can rally and try to fight back in this set. The interesting Celestial drops there, 3/3. The Trickster just deciding to get a bit aggressive and start pressuring the Nexus, which pretty fair. I mean, with no Fizz,
Like it.
it's not going to get blocked anytime soon. So it's just going to continue to at least put Mukhtar on a little bit of a clock here.
Yeah. Now we have the option of opening up with either the Solari Sunforger or the Aloof Travelers. We can even just develop the bot and keep more mana up this turn. Lots of options, but Ferretto's going to go for the thing. The thingamajigger, the Solari. The Solari Sunforger. Not
one
the
thing to
Sunforger,
note.
Priestess.
One thing to note for Mukhtar is that he didn't draw a Papercraft Dragon last turn, and that might have thrown him off just a tad. Knowing that that is such an easy win con, not having it can definitely make you need to tax your brain a little bit more and be like, oh, I've just been like winning these games with Papercraft. Now how am I gonna get to the finish line? So maybe we'll see Mukhtar draws the Papercraft here in the next couple turns, and that can help him swing with some crazy shenanigans. But in the meantime, we're seeing Riven get leveled, I believe, right? Blade of the Exile comes down here. And again, does Ferretto have that hush up? He does.
He does. Yeah, Ferretto does have the hush available this time.
Really
so
rough.
We'll see. Has kept the mana. Is going to be able to just go ahead and silence this Riven here.
Right.
But if that does happen, we can go ahead and buff up the 3-1 instead. Push a little bit of extra damage there if we choose, but that's going to give up second Riven. And then things get a little bit dicey.
Yeah, I would not advise committing that champion spell. Just in case, like, you have seen the one hush pop already, so it's like, there's probably not a second hush, considering there's only 2 copies. But in this instance, there is, and yeah, you couldn't blame Mukhtar if he did go in with it, but if he does, he's gonna get super punished. It's not gonna be a pretty situation. The trinket trade is interesting. Wow.
Oh,
Ferretto
hush
just
doesn't
decides-
actually come out.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. Just right to the dome puts Ferretto at 7, which, I mean,
Saving it for the last possible moment, I guess. Just calm,
It checks
collected,
out.
measured play. Again,
Yeah.
showing a mastery of their deck and an understanding of how low they can go. There's not a whole lot else that will threaten them here. A second might could be dangerous by enabling another overwhelm push, but was able to pick up some damage off of this Traveler here, some removal. Can keep the board thin, and as a result, should be okay in the long run.
you're saying like a post hush might, right?
Yes, yeah, like a post hush
Yes, yeah,
might.
that could be really good. I agree.
Or even just a might onto a second unit to like diversify your threats.
Right.
Could also be quite powerful, but with the comet, or not the comet, the meteor shower picked up, the board should be able to be kept pretty thin from the side of like Ferretto should be able to keep this board down.
No, absolutely. And this is an interesting block. It doesn't really set up for anything. I guess it's just save health, which I respect. You are going a bit low, and that what is that card called? The Yordle Squire wasn't gonna help your offense realistically.
So what that block does is it makes it so that all the units have some damage on it, and that no matter what you might, damage is going to push, like more damage is going to get pushed through. 1 HP units don't matter so much when you're trying to finish the game. I would like to potentially see this. Oh, okay. Why did we just preemptively do that? I guess to heal, but that's fine. That's fine. I thought about it more. I like it. You don't really want to be using that on your offensive turn.
No, yeah. I think Riven. I mean, it's just tragic that Ferretto had double hush here. Honestly, what more is there to say about this?
Doesn't have double hush, does he?
I mean, the single hush, like
Yeah,
the 2 hush,
but-
the 2 copies of hush that were in his deck.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
then the
might's going to
might
come out
comes
now,
down.
and then we do have both the...
Vigor,
We have a lot of ways to actually stop this. So might comes down, as well as the Elixir of Iron off the top. This was a great pickup. Lethal is threatened once again. Now Ferretto can answer with one of two options, either the Pale Cascade or the Sunblessed Vigor. Sunblessed Vigor is going to come out. Now, what are we going to see? Oh, both are going to come out. So this just opens up the way for the Wallop, and that's lethal from the side of Mukhtar. We're going to go to a game 3 once again, Max.
All right, I was doubting. I really was, but
so was I, to be honest with you.
That's the might proving how powerful it is. It's one mighty ribbon. You hush me, I don't care. I'll just rebuff it and give it overwhelm again. It's like kind of crazy. So yeah, Mukhtar making up for his friendship error.
Now I wonder if we're gonna see the Dresbo pile or if it's the Ari Kennen callback. What would you prefer to see here, Max?
It's gonna be
Dresbo pile.
Oh, Dresbo pile, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That's wonderful. Okay,
so chat, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this list.
Yeah, it's got, okay, I'll just read off some of the highlights. It's got one Heimerdinger, one Lee Sin, one Vi, double Chempunk Pickpocket, double Scales of the Dragon, one Submersible, one Scattered Pod, one Give It All, one Dragon's Rage, one Dusk and Dawn, one Will of Iote. Just tons and tons of one.
There's Memory Cloak in there. Do you guys know what Memory Cloak does? I don't really know what Memory Cloak does, to be honest with you. I still don't understand that card properly.
I can read it to you, but I don't even think that would help our understanding. So we see the Zoe go down on 1, which is to a Death Ray. The single copy of Death Ray goes out there.
The time trick
copy of Death Ray and 1 Thermo.
Yeah, so Death Ray is like normally kind of bad because it breaks your draws, right? But
yeah,
we have a time trick. If it's not drawn this turn, we can just shuffle the deck and then it's gone. We may never see it again. We may want to keep, like, we may see it here and we don't. So time trick is now an option to just eliminate it altogether. Scales of the Dragon could come down instead, but honestly, what else do you want to do here? Scales is just gonna die, right?
Okay. I think it's safe to say for, I don't know who's more aggressive here. I'm at a loss in how to evaluate this matchup.
I think with the lack of, yeah, there's not much burn from the side of Victor of the Dresbo pile, right? There's no Mystic Shots, there's no Get Excited, it's nothing like that. So I think Ferretto is, I don't know. It's just so hard.
I think we're gonna see both players just kind of inch towards a commitment of a bigger unit, and then we'll really find out what's gonna happen. I mean, obviously Ferretto wants to get down to Felios, right? And that's gonna be a big point of stress to deal with, because you know it's just, if you let that thing create the value and the value and the value, it's gonna not, you're not gonna be a happy Runeterra gamer. You're gonna find yourself behind, I'm sure, but.
Yeah, infinite units, infinite healing, infinite overwhelm, infinite stuns. Aphelios just does so much for this deck. You really do want to be able to threaten it early.
Infinite removal. It's like so crazy.
So many options.
Another Death Ray comes out there. Gets rid of the Boom Baboon. And the swing from Ballistic Bot, quite aggressive. I don't dislike it at all.
I really like this. I feel like people don't use their Ballistic Bots effectively enough, and this is a position where you can definitely afford to take that swing. If they block with the Aphelios, you're happy. If they block with the bot, you're happy. If they don't block and you get your 3 damage in, well, you're very happy.
I'm gonna lose the Submersible here, draw another Deep Med. So with 2 Deep Meds and a Time Trick, we're kind of suffering from playing like too much draw, and we're seeing some of the clunkiness of the deck on display here.
Only 12 followers in the list. That's less than even the Go Hard deck we saw earlier.
Yeah.
Scales of the Dragon gonna come down here, give us that new Focus Speed spell, and we do have an Opify available here. Will we see it cast to protect this Ballistic Bot? I think we have to, right, Max?
Yeah, and then you can just kind of slap the Scales of the Dragon on it, protect it more maybe. It's not...
Yeah.
Bot is so important here. It's like... because you play that copy of Ambush, because you play the Dragon's Rage, because you play Give It All, like, you're really going to want to keep this bot on the board, so...
Even Dawn and Dusk with the bot, if nothing else, you can combo it with an Ambush. There's some stuff here. You can do some things.
plenty of shenanigans that allow you to justify in your head, I need this ballistic bot.
Mhm.
Which
Also,
is fair.
yeah, totally fair. The fact that we also only have 12 units, as we pointed out earlier, and we just lost one in the submersible, that can make a big difference here.
Really can. And I see the stun on the scales.
This is a
So
memory
that's-
cloak moment.
Is it a memory cloak moment, Monty? Or do you
I don't
just
know.
say it's a memory cloak for your ballistic bot? I'm
You might have to.
surprised. Yeah, okay. See the health. This is 6/6 bot. It's pretty juicy. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the swing again here. Let's get some damage in. The Zoe pops off and is gonna level so swiftly. If you look at Fredo's hand, there's already like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards under 2 costs that could realistically level Zoe here. So we're gonna see the swift target and try to get rid of that threat.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, that could have killed Aphelios, which would have.
Well, there's a Pale Cascade, right? So he's choosing to play around that.
Yeah.
I kind of like that
Really
going after the Zoe in that spot. I don't
No, you
dislike
have
it at
to,
all.
you have to go after Zoe. Absolutely, absolutely. Especially with the second Aphelios in hand. It's like.
Well,
It's locked
Maktar
in.
doesn't know there's second Aphelios, right?
Altar. Yeah, that's true. Ooh, the raw Chompers comes down and can.
Well,
drag
yeah,
the
this is
Blizzard
gonna let him
shot.
push 10 damage. Sets him to 5. That's lethal.
That palm. Wow.
The
that
palm off the
is
top, though.
pretty
You're
cool.
right.
Lethal. Oh, that is lethal with the burn. Oh my
It's
god.
exact lethal with the burn. That's crazy.
Actually insane. Good on him to stun that bot and make sure it doesn't get pushed through. Just a pass here. Ask Ferretto. Okay, play out some spells until I see. Let me see some more spells before I decide whether or not I want to ignition. And we're gonna have to hope we get some crazy stuff off deep med. I mean, there's a realistic Dragon's Rage win con, Monty.
Yes, that is a real
There's some
win con that's
Dragon's Rage
available
win
to this
con.
deck. So
It's
I
like-
actually have to apologize to chat. I'm gonna cut you off real quick, Matt, because there is
Okay.
no top cut today. I'm so sorry, guys. We're not
Oh.
doing a top cut at all. This is gonna be the last round, and whoever comes out ahead of this at the end of this one is gonna take it home. Take home the $50.
This is the finals.
This is the finals, basically. This is.
Oh
It's
my
a good thing we jumped into this match, right?
Yeah. This is essentially gonna determine who earns $50 in the first of mini Mastering Runeterra open tournaments. Not open. What would you call these? Mastering Runeterra.
Road to Seasonals tournament series. This is
Oh yeah,
what we're
Road to
going
Season.
with. Road to Seasonals series. There are the subscriber tournaments, if you want to call them that. I think that's fair.
Patch day 1 event. It's a big tournament. It's exciting.
It
You're
is
playing
exciting.
on a-
We've seen some really exciting decks today, Max. I've been super surprised and super happy to see some of the stuff coming out.
I'm still reeling from Henneke's triple tactician.
Yeah,
That was absolutely insane.
I might go play some Ashnox now. I was saying Tillia Malphite, but like you reminded me of that. I'm like,
Yeah. So
maybe it's time to
we'll
give
see.
that a go again.
I expect the ignition to drop here. The Eye of the Dragon is huge, and that was really good to get off the time trick. Gonna see, okay, thermo for 2. Bit awkward. Not positive why you would want to go for that there. Yes, to make it Mystic Shot. Ooh, ambush. Hello.
Oh, mama.
Hello.
With the Memory Cloak. So, does Memory Cloak beat all of the spells?
No. Because you can Mystic Shot, they Memory Cloak, you Mystic Shot, essentially,
But-
right?
That's a Nopify.
That's no 5, but
We don't have the mana for it all, though.
yeah.
But you're right, Max.
We're seeing the ambush nerf actually matter here a little bit, as Mukhtar decides to just take this a little bit slower. The Mystic Shot pops down, and it's nice that this is eating spells that could have gone to the Nexus. It's not like
Mhm.
it's not totally a waste, but I
It's
think
not
if
the
you're
end of the
Mukhtar,
world.
You do want to Nopify, right?
I think
Or
so.
do you just I think you just hold it to protect eye, maybe?
I don't know. It's so close. What's I really being threatened by? Are there get exciteds from the side of Ferretto? I imagine there's one or two. Usually there is one or two at the very least.
There's aftershock, which doesn't even get protected by the no. There's
So-
the one thermo beam we saw was the only thermo beam. So there's actually no. I actually would have liked to see the Nopify there because there
I think
there
so
is no
too.
get excited. Yeah.
I think
no
so
get
too.
excited. Instead, we see the stun on Scales again. That Scales of the Dragon. Fredo said, "You're not going anywhere today." Aphelios just
Nope.
decided it's gonna get frozen in place. You did what you're supposed to do, but
And
pretty
I don't know
fun.
about you, Max, but this is probably one of the more frustrating things about playing against Aphelios, just having your board locked infinitely. Considering the Nopify here, and I don't hate this either. This is a decent spot to hit the Nopify. You do want to have blockers available. Instead, gonna go for the cloak thing.
interesting. I think that's nice because like kind of baits your opponent into thinking you don't have Nopify here. Maybe that's the logic.
Potentially.
Yeah,
It's not bad logic. I can get behind it for sure.
Oh my gosh, the
Bye!
Vi!
Bye!
Oh.
No! That was our win con!
These big threats, Ferretto keeps aloofing in the perfect timing as well. So like, I don't know if that's impressive or lucky, but either way, it's really helping him get closer to the win here. We see, oh my god, the 3-1 was so
Wow.
good. What's that thing even called? Oh my god.
Sky shadows, night shadows. Sky shadows.
Shadows.
I was right. I should trust my gut more.
Yeah, the Sky Shadows actually so powerful there. We see the Eye of the Dragon generate her Dragonling, which is might be Ferretto's saving grace here. We'll see. I mean,
Mukhtar's saving grace. I don't know about that one.
I keep wanting to say Macantor, which is another Lord
yeah.
player.
Yeah.
My apologies. Mukhtar's
That's okay.
saving grace. We see the Severum pop down. Kind of unnecessary, kind of rude. Just creating a huge ballistic bot saying you're probably never gonna beat me if you let this connect, which is reasonable.
Yeah.
And
So now you
overall
have to deny this Inferno, right? Oh, I'm a little bit surprised to see this come out on the Aphelios and not on the bot. I guess we do have the second Aphelios to use as a way to generate another one.
Nopify. Oh my gosh. That's
This
so
is forced,
painful.
right? Like, there's no option there.
It's so painful. It's so painful. Wow. All right, full swing.
Full swing.
Fredo, is this the end of the Runeterra qualifier? Not qualifier. Runeterra Road to Seasonal Tournament. Number
Yeah,
one.
I think it might be.
I think it might be.
Gonna be pretty close here.
How
go to
We
7.
have the Bell Cascade. We have the Ignition. You know, math is for blockers, and I'm on the side of the attacker, so I'm gonna let you do the math if you want to, Monty.
I think we have one more turn.
Yeah, we have one more turn. Deep med. Okay.
I think we have one more turn. We'll see what happens here, though. There is exact lethal coming out from the side of Ferretto right now. And with that second Mystic shot, I think we might be in the clear.
Yup, that's pushing 5.
Offensive. Oh, defensive twin.
Defensive twin. I mean,
I thought it was going to be an offensive twin to heal more. But it...
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's, with just 2 denies and it's over. GG's. Ferretto is your champion this evening. All he has to do is send some mystic shots to the face, and it's GG. So really well played from both players. Honestly, a little unfortunate. Mukhtar just did not develop a champion at any point in that game.
Yeah, the Vi, as it was going to be picked up, ended up getting burned by the aloof instead. Ferretto proving that, you know, it takes a little bit of luck to win a tournament. A little bit of luck, a little bit of skill. Definitely a bit of both.
You have to have a bit of luck to win, of course.
And with that,
GG.
that was a wonderful way to end our first Mastering Runeterra Road to Seasonals tournament. I
Oh,
am so excited that we got to see a Dresmo pile in a tournament, Max. I had a wonderful time casting all these games with you. You did a
it was
truly
a
phenomenal
pleasure.
job carrying me while I was taking care of production and like taking care of chat and like taking care of this and that. I'm dragged every which way, and you're just like holding down the fort. You're coming at it. Like, truly a pleasure to cast alongside you tonight.
Well, you were wonderful as well, Monty. Thanks for inviting me to do this. It was a hell of a time. A lot of fun.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, man.
Thank you. I would love to have you back for another one when when I can. I do have some other people I've made some promises to, but maybe we can get some talks in, and maybe you can host some of these yourself because I can't be available every single day this week, unfortunately, or every single day for the next couple weeks. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But with that, I just want to give us one more special thanks and special shout out to both chat, of course. Gotta love the chat. They've been here. They've been holding down the fort. They've been coming out and supporting us. And of course, to our sponsors, Community Gaming, because once again, they have teamed up with us to help bring you guys this tournament series. And we will see you guys next time. Max, do you have any final words before we sign off?
Nope.
Nope.
Check out
All
Fernando,
right.
great player. That's all. Congrats.
Oh yeah, congratulations to Ferretto, of course, as well. Yeah. That's going to be it from us tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll catch you guys again tomorrow. I'll be back myself. Max, maybe you can join me again tomorrow if you can. I'd love to have you back. We'll see. We'll talk.
What's up?
Anyways, bye guys.